Hello and welcome to Too Fast, Too Forever. There's all kinds of family. We chose this one. This is episode 226, The Transporter from 2002. I'm Joey Lewandowski.
I'm Joe too, and this episode's brought to you by Brothers Auto Transport. At Brothers Auto Transport, they value their professionals and have structured their compensation plan to prove it, so if you want to join their winning team, shout out to Brothers Auto Transport.
Well, shout out to Brothers Auto Transport. Sorry to Orangina. They did not make the sponsor cut, but I knew that Brothers Auto Transport would get the nod
You actually
today.
found this, yeah.
I sure did. But, after the break, we'll be joined by the resident historian Mike Manzi to talk about The Transporter. So here's an important thing, and I'll mention this maybe in the back half. I was looking. So this one, The Transporter.
Okay.
But the next two, they dropped the. It's just like Facebook. It's no longer the Facebook. It's no longer The Transporter. It's just Transporter 2, Transporter 3. So I'm going to be very careful.
That makes sense, though. That kind of,
I guess.
The mouthfeel feels good in that sense, right? It's like The Transporter and then Transporter 2. It's not like The Transporter 2. I think it works better. It's cleaner.
It is cleaner, just like drop the. No more The Facebook, just Facebook. But Joe, extracurricular activities, what have you been up to since we last spoke?
The Oscar movies have come out, the nominations, and you know that Rachel and I try to watch all of those every year, at least the Best Picture noms before the Oscars. The Oscars aren't until like the end of March this year, though, so we actually have a lot of time. That does feel weird, right? Doesn't it? Isn't it usually the end of February?
I think every year you're like, wow, we got a lot of time for the Oscars. And I'm like, I think it's always like this. So I think it's an annual tradition. You saying, wow, we have a lot of time. And you saying, I don't think so. But I think, yes.
Okay, so maybe it's a recurring thing. So anyways, we went to go see 3 movies from the Best Picture.
So you're up to 4, because we talked last time, you had only seen Dune, right? So now you're up to 4.
Yeah.
Oh, right, I forgot that I was teased. There's a big story here. Okay, I forgot. But yes, okay.
So we went to go see Licorice Pizza. Pretty good. I liked it. Rachel was like, meh. She was like, it's a movie.
Yeah, we talked about that last week, I think.
Cool. We go see Nightmare Alley, okay?
Correct.
And we were going to go Thursday night and Friday night, okay?
Even though that is now on Hulu for anybody who wants to watch it, and HBO Max. But you like to see them in theaters, but it is available to legally stream at home on 2 pretty accessible, popular platforms.
Exactly. So, but I was like, you know what? Like, it's in the theater. I try to see as many in the theaters as I can. So I buy the tickets, go to see the movie, sit through it. I was like, oh, man, that was a pretty good movie. I liked it. We come out of the theater, and Rachel goes, wow, that's so weird that all the trailers were in color, but the movie was in black and white. That's like a really interesting choice. I don't know why they ever did that. And I was like, yeah, I didn't see any trailers or even know who was in the movie, so like I had no idea. So I was like,
oh, you mean trailers for the movie, not trailers before the movie? Okay, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, the trailers for the movie were in color, but the movie was in black and white. So I was like, oh man, like I had, whatever. So like I'm thinking about it, and like the next day I go to work, and like I go back and look at my tickets. And I definitely bought tickets to go see Nightmare Alley, A Vision of Darkness and Light.
Yep.
That is the black and white version of
it.
Yes. And I had no idea because I didn't know what the actual title of the movie was and that this was like a special edition black and white showing. So I was like, oh man, I'm an idiot. Like, it was great in black and white, right? Like, the movie.
Well, yeah, I think we talked about that on this show before, too, right? Like, about watching Parasite in black and white and everything. Like, there's movies like that sort of. I like Nightmare Alley. I didn't love Nightmare Alley, but I think I would actually maybe like it more in black and white, to be honest.
And it really fits the theme. Like, the movie's set in the 40s or 50s, right? So it fit really, really well. It worked, right? And it's like a high contrast movie. So
because it's a remake. It's a remake of a movie that came out in 1947, I believe.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we do that. We see it. We're like, okay, that was cool. I realize I'm an idiot. So Friday night, we're going to see Belfast, okay?
Okay, I see where this is going.
I think I knew you were probably going to get there before it happened.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to see Belfast. I print the tickets because, I have the thing on my phone. So, just scan in, get the tickets. I hand one to Rachel. She's like, you didn't buy tickets to the Color Extravaganza version by accident, did you? I said, no. There's only one showing. This was just called Belfast. We're seeing it. And she's like, because it's definitely in black and white. I know it is from the pictures. I was like, okay.
There's a better joke that she missed. Bell Furious, but go ahead.
Okay. So we sit down in the theater, and I think you know exactly how this goes. The movie starts out, with an overshot view of Belfast in color,
Yep.
and we're like, what the fuck is happening? And it
Yep.
was just because we saw those two movies in that situation back to back that was hysterical. So we start dying in the beginning of Belfast. We're just cackling in the back of the theater. Then we watched Belfast, and we like mildly talked to you about it, and it was a movie, and so that's where we are. But that's my fun time. I accidentally bought black and white tickets, and then a black and white movie starts out in color as we're making jokes that I fucked it up again.
That's good. I like that. That's very good.
I thought you would. That's why I've been trying to save it for, since Friday.
Yeah.
So we did that. We've been watching. Oh, you know what else? Love is Blind season 2 came back, and we blew through that. This show is one of my favorite reality TV shows. Do you know the premise of it?
So I somewhat know the premise because, Who Weekly, which I've talked about on here before, there was a listener to that won Jeopardy like 3 nights in a row. And one night that she won Jeopardy, a category was all about reality TV shows. And so she like crushed the category because like if you listen to a gossip podcast,
yes,
and they talk about Love is Blind and Love Island and all those, like they talk about them, sporadically, whatever, whenever there's a new season out. So
yeah,
it's just funny that someone in this community, it's like, it's like if a listener to this show was on Jeopardy and there was there's a
Fast and Furious category,
like Vin Diesel movies or Fast and Furious category, right? It's like, yeah, I think I'm going to do well here because like this is exactly in my wheelhouse, right? So
exactly.
I know somewhat about Love is Blind, but go ahead.
Yeah, so like the new season starts out and they just like, they have to talk through a wall. They can't see each other. Right. And these people are just horrible. Like, they're so annoying, all of them. And some of them are really big morons. It totally doesn't work, right? Because these people, like, come out and then they see each other. And they're either like, oh, you're really ugly. Or, like there's somebody that's out of their league, right? Like, there's a stretch there. So it often doesn't work, and this season just seems like it's complete chaos. So we blew through that. We watched one of the new episodes of Righteous Gemstones, and we're caught up on After Party, which is still awesome. So yeah, that's what we've been up to.
I've also been doing the Oscar catch-up. I had seen 7 when they got announced. So now I'm up to 9. I have 1 left, which is Don't Look Up. Did you guys watch Don't Look Up or no?
No, I know it's on Netflix. We haven't watched it yet. First of all, I keep starting it when we're drinking, and I'm like, okay, pause. Like, I don't have the attention span for this. But also, like, I would prefer to see it in a theater if I could. So, like,
some theaters are showing the Netflix movies.
Exactly. So I'm hoping that usually, like, if I keep waiting, like, in knowing that it's on Netflix, like, if I keep waiting, like, worst case, I can watch it, like, the week before the Oscars, knowing we have till the 27th. I'll wait to see if it pops up in a theater, because there's, like, a couple around me that, like, will play the Oscar movies, like, as we get closer, right? So. Right.
Like, that's the good thing. So, like, Don't Look Up is on Netflix, Nightmare Alley on HBO and Hulu. King Richard was on HBO Max for a month. Coda's on Apple.
Okay.
I think the other ones, and most of the other ones are rentable. They might not be streamable for free, but like they're mostly out there, or you can see most of them in theaters because like they're either still in theaters or going back to theaters, like one showing a day or whatever.
Yeah. I usually catch those, or like you can get it on a Saturday. There's like this really cool little theater near me that is like you could see that it used to be 2 screens, and they just like put a wall down the middle, and they still So now it's like 4 screens, and they line up all the movies. So I think they all start at the same time, and you get like actual popcorn that they like pop in the popcorn machine, and you can buy scoops of candy still.
That's cool. I like that a lot. That's
it's like a really old-timey theater that like they haven't updated since, the 70s or 80s or whatever.
Yeah. So the 2 that I watched in the last week, I watched Coda, which I loved, and
you said you were going to love that when we talked about it, when we like talked about it from the beginning. Yeah.
It's kind of predictable in a way. That's also a remake, which I did not know. It's a remake of a French movie about a deaf family with a hearing child. I like down the stretch, I was just like crying. Like it's just like it's just like it's corny and like not corny, but it's like it's predictable
wholesome.
And like heartwarming and like everything. So I love that. And then I saw King Richard, the Will Smith, Venus Williams, Serena Williams movie, which was really good, but also kind of it's a biopic. Like you know exactly what it's kind of going to be, and he's good in it, but it's good. But I also watched a handful of new release movies, 2022 movies. Ooh. I watched Kimi, Kimi, which is a new Steven Soderbergh movie on HBO Max, which was very, very good. It's very short. It's like under 90 minutes. It's basically Zoe Kravitz plays someone who essentially works for ALEXA voice services, but for this company called Kimi. And she hears what she thinks is a crime. So it's kind of like Rear Window in a way, Disturbia in a way, but like she's trying to figure this out. And it's also a pandemic movie, so she like doesn't really want to go out of her or whatever. So like it's really, really good. I like that a lot. Then I went to the theater and I saw Jackass Forever, which was amazing. Very, very funny.
Really, everybody loves it. This doesn't seem like this is up your wheelhouse at all.
No, it's very good. It's very fun. Seeing it with a crowd is good. Seeing it with a couple of, and I don't know if this is pejorative, but it also kind of fits, like rednecks in the front who were like talking to the screen and farting during the movie and also fighting with each other during the movie. I'm like, that's not great. Like, but the movie was very fun.
That feels like that's the target.
Yes.
I grew up on Jackass. Like, I'm not slighting it, because, like, we fucking loved it. Like, all that shit. Yeah. Okay, cool. I'm glad that you
I saw the first
it,
movie, and I saw this one. I did not see 2 or 3, and I've not seen the TV show. But,
oh, God, I used to watch a TV show every week, just waiting for them to do it. It was so awesome.
This was really good, though. I like this a lot. There's new people, like, there's celebrities, and there's people who are, like, have been inspired, like Eric Andre's in it a little bit. They also, like, really went out of their way to diversify the cast. Like, there's people of color. There's even female jackasses, I guess, if that's the noun that they use or whatever. But, like,
okay.
It's cool.
Cool.
Then Bob came up on Saturday to do a How to Win the Lottery, and we went to see Moonfall in theaters, the new Roland Emmerich movie where the moon is about to fall. Have you seen trailers for this?
No. I mean, not that I remember, because I think I saw some during the Super Bowl, but I also wasn't paying attention. Go ahead.
Roland Emmerich is the guy who did like Independence Day in 2012 and The Day After Tomorrow. It's just like all these disaster movies, and like it's just like that, and it's both as dumb as you want it to be and not dumb enough. But there are some lines in it you're like, that's kind of what I came for. Like Bob and I were kind of laughing in the theater, and like I felt bad because like if people are taking it serious, like I don't want to like laugh at a thing that other people are like genuinely enjoying, but like it's so dumb that I couldn't.
It's corny, yeah.
I could not laugh.
Yeah.
Some of it's fun. Some of it's too long because it's over 2 hours. But you know, watch it eventually. I would say don't pay for Moonfall, but like if you like those kind of movies, it's worth seeing.
Yeah, it'd be a fun nighttime, just turn your brain off kind of situation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then, since this past weekend was Valentine's Day weekend, they had a couple new rom-coms come out. I saw I Want You Back, which is on Amazon Prime. This with Jenny Slate and Charlie Day.
Oh, yeah. How was that? That one actually could
look very good.
It looked like it could be pretty funny, yeah.
I really like that one a lot. I recommend that. I also liked Marry Me, the J-Lo, Owen Wilson one, but that's...
Because it looks awful.
He's good in it. I like her a lot. That's definitely worse. If you watch one of them, watch I Want You Back.
Yeah.
Marry Me is much more in the traditional kind of like old-timey rom-com, but
yes, yeah.
I Want You Back is definitely, it's funnier, it's better, it's more original. I mean, they both, like, you know how it's going to end, because, like, it's not like these are really, like, you know, setting the world on, like, they're not trying to break new ground, but, like, I Want You Back is really fun.
Okay, good. And you know I love Jenny Slate a lot, so...
Yes.
Yeah.
And also in I Want You Back, like, it's a whole, like, big cast, like, Little Nobody, Scott Eastwood, is her ex who dumps her.
Okay.
Gina Rodriguez, who is from, like, you know, Jane the Virgin and also Annihilation, she is Charlie Day's ex. There's also Manny Jacinto from The Good Place. There's Dylan Galula, who's an actress I love. So, like, it's a good cast. And I really liked I Want You Back. And it's on Prime, which is good.
Cool. And
then the last movie I watched, because basically all I've been doing is, like, doing the movie catch-up, is I went to the theaters last night to see Death on the Nile with our girl Gal Gadot.
Oh, yeah, that one looks fun, too. It looks fun.
It's okay. It's again, kind of long. It starts out... So, did you guys watch Murder on the Orient Express, the first one of these?
No.
So Kenneth Branagh, who is the star of these movies, but also... So he directed Belfast.
Yes.
But he also wrote and directed Murder on the Orient Express and Death on the Nile, which are both based on Agatha Christie novels.
Okay.
This one starts with... And so, like, his character Poirot, like the detective, has a very, very big mustache. Like, you've probably even seen it or whatever. Like, he's got this crazy mustache.
Oh, yeah,
And this movie, no joke, starts with a 10-minute black and white sequence of him at war getting scarred and the origin story of the mustache. And it's like, this is really how you're going to start this movie with a 10-minute sequence about, like, why this guy has a mustache? Like, it's like, okay, interesting. All right.
Is that pivotal to the story, I guess?
No, not at all. It's
That's
just,
what I'm saying. Yeah.
It's people who like Poirot, I guess. I don't know. What's interesting somewhat about this is that this movie has a cast filled with canceled people. Like Gal Gadot has gotten in trouble for speaking out about Israel. Armie Hammer, obviously, in here. There's a couple other people who are in here that are just like there's 3 or 4 just like, oh, you're all in the same movie. Okay, interesting.
Like you all got sent to go die on the Nile.
Oh, Letitia Wright, who is Shuri in Black Panther, has been sort of vocally anti-vax.
Yes, that's right. I know her, yep.
Mm-hmm. So, but Gal's good in it. Emma Mackey, who is... Do you guys watch... Have you seen Sex Education on Netflix?
No, we haven't.
So it's a high school show, which is good, but she plays like the female lead. Like it's her and Asa Butterfield are like these kids in high school, like running this like sex advice or whatever kind of shop essentially.
Okay.
And I had never seen her. I think she was sort of new, but she was great on that show, and she's also good in this too. So
Cool.
again, I would not pay to see Death on the Nile, but if you
Stumble
want to
across
see it,
yeah,
exactly. Good week, and we got holiday weekend coming up, which is nice. So
holiday weekend, really? What is it, Martin
President's
Luther King?
Day.
Oh, yeah, Martin Luther King is January, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Now we are celebrating in Black History Month. We're celebrating our white forefathers.
Yes. Yeah, that's why I switch it.
Yeah. Well, that's the nice thing about like managing my company's calendar. I'm just like, yeah, I'm not going to schedule anything on Friday or Monday. I'm just going to give us all the weekend off. Like if we need to do stuff, we work or whatever, but I'm just like, no, we're just not going to, we're not doing anything.
Yeah. You do the Parks and Rec, put all the meetings on the 31st of March or whatever.
Oh, there actually is the 31st of March.
That's the joke. Didn't you ever see Parks and Rec?
I did, but I don't remember this.
Aubrey Plaza scheduled all of his meetings for like one day that she didn't think existed.
Oh, okay.
So he has to do every meeting for his whole year on 31st of March because there is a 31st of March and she didn't know that there was one.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's March. It might be a different month.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm better at my job than Aubrey Plaza was.
Yes.
Then what was her name on that show? April Ludgate. Jesus.
April. That's right, April.
And then there was, Janet Snakehole, I remember, is her upper, basically character who would be in Death on the Nile, right? Her, like,
exactly.
upper class, high society type of person. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, we have a Patreon page here for the show, toofast2forever.com. Okay, now with Nate here, I gotta
Okay,
get my lungs.
Practice, yeah.
Shout out to Cassie Wilson, Jake Freer, Ben Milliman, Nick Burris, Alex Ellen, and Justin Kleiman, Brian Rodriguez of High School Slumber Party, Haley Gerbies, Wes Hampton, Christian Larson, Jerry Robinson, Dan the Duke, Hayden, Renato DiDonato, Michael McGann, Lane Middleton, Lindsay Lewandowski, Nate Milton of the Kings of Sports, and Jessica Collins, a.k.a. Montez. Thank you all for supporting us at the $5 a month level or above. This lap coming to an end sort of soon. So if you want to get in, if you want to know next lap's theme, if you want to pick movies for next lap, toofast2forever.com, please and thank you. We also have an email address, family@cageclub.me. We have 3 emails today.
Okay.
First up from Alex Ellen, subject line, we're the only ones who are going this deep on these movies.
Okay, that's very, very true.
So these are all 3 emails today are from patrons who I think might have been responding to our most recent episode about Furious 7 that we did with Brian. I think, maybe not. I don't know. We'll find out. We also put out a Patreon bonus episode about Friday Night Lights, so it might be about that. I don't remember. But they're all from patrons. So here we go. Alex says, gentlemen, I'm currently driving all over Northeast Ohio looking at houses. Ooh, very exciting.
Yeah.
And I had a thought when it was suggested Tiffany Haddish play No Niece Denise. What if Diggle... Who's Diggle?
I have no idea. Who is Diggle?
What if Diggle is married to Denise, and at the end of 10 or 11 at the barbecue, we get the payoff of Roman and Denise recognizing each other? That'd be sweet. Who's Diggle?
I don't know.
Hold on, I'm going to message Alex. Also, Joe, do you know what a Pittsburgh potty is? I know that because I actually have one, but do you know what a Pittsburgh potty is?
I 1,000% know what a Pittsburgh potty is, and I'm sure that if he's searching for housing over in Ohio, they have made their way along the road to Ohio to be there. And yes, that is, for anybody else that doesn't know, it's a toilet in your basement that usually is not even covered. Just random toilet in the basement. It's said to have started because in Pittsburgh, the steel workers would come home and their wives would just make them come in through the basement. And actually, there's usually a shower too, like a really shitty shower. And you would just rinse off the steel mill soot and nasty shit because it stinks off of you there, and then you could come upstairs for dinner and stuff. So that's the origins of the Pittsburgh potty. But yes,
I've heard that, and I've also heard when the people were building the house, it was a toilet for them to use. which I guess is sort of similar. It's just like, we don't want you, dirty person who's like a blue-collar worker, using the real toilet, whether you're coming back from the steel mill or building this house, so please use this one. So I have one, but like, the weird thing about it, and I was talking to somebody about it recently, I don't remember who it was, but somebody was talking, whatever.
You don't have an entrance to your basement.
No, yeah. It's just like, there's no, it's weird. It's like, okay, but like, I literally have a toilet on like a raised cement slab between pieces of plywood. It's just like, yeah, it's not like it's a toilet, but it's like not like a bathroom, right? So
yeah, like if you have overflow, you have people there for Thanksgiving or something, like you can use this toilet. It's definitely functional, but for the most part, like you're not gonna be like, oh yeah, go take a shit downstairs, to like somebody, but you can.
Alex got back to me. It is Dinkley. So what if Dinkley is married to Denise, and at the end of 10 or 11 at the barbecue, we get the payoff of Roman and Denise recognizing each other. So Dinkley and Tiffany Haddish. Yeah.
That makes perfect sense. Okay. Cool. I like that a lot. That would be really, like a final joke. Be like, Denise, and then the movie just ends. It cuts there.
And no one cares except for us. We're like, oh my God, they did it.
At that point, they've had to have been listening to us. We've said this before, but if Dinkley... If Denise shows back up in these movies for any reason.
As we know from Google Images, if you search Denise, we come up first, right? So, like, we're the few, the proud, so.
Yeah.
Thank you, Alex. Next email from Justin, subject line, Friday Night Lights and a hot take. Oh, I read part of this email, and I'm like, I do not approve of this, but we'll get to it.
Okay.
I'm excited you're covering Friday Night Lights, which we did the movie that's out now on the Patreon if you want to hear us talk about it. Also, by the way, pledge drive. Let's not forget Brian's promise for a pledge drive.
Oh, yes, that's true.
Sign up for the Patreon, $5 tier or above, and I will mail you a signed DVD of any of the Fast and Furious movies.
Signed by you, not signed.
Signed by me, yes, correct.
Not signed by anybody that's in the movies.
Correct.
But just autographed by you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure we could get, if you do 6, we could probably get Mariah Doty Trevino, who has the cover quote. Maybe we get her to sign it, but that's going above and beyond. If you go to the $10 a month, we'll get that. We'll hook that up. But $5 a month, any of the 10 movies on DVD, used, signed by me.
It's amazing.
So if you want the Patreon bonus episodes and also that $5 a month, Too Fast.
Didn't he have an end date for it though? It has to be before
end of the month. Yes.
End of February. Okay.
So this episode comes out like the 22nd. So you have until like the next week. I will also, we'll have a little bit of buffer, but like it's basically a hard and fast. Like join now, forever hold your peace.
Yeah, exactly. If you were thinking about it, now's your time to get your free autographed Joey DVD copy of a Fast and the Furious movie.
You get to pick the color Sharpie that I signed it in.
Oh, that's fun. Do you have a whole like array of them?
Yeah, I got a bunch.
That's cool. Nice.
And you asked about gel pens last time. I'm like, I don't have those, but I have Sharpies, so we can do any Sharpie, any color.
Perfect.
Justin says, I've never been much of a football fan, but it's a great movie with an amazing... I mean, you're in Minnesota. I understand why you're not a football fan. Not a lot of good football to watch up there.
Coming from a Vikings fan, it was a perfect joke. I love it.
That's why I'm allowed to say it.
Exactly.
Some of my best friends are Vikings fans. That's not true. I don't know anybody. I don't know any Vikings fans. But it's a great movie with an amazing soundtrack by Explosions in the Sky. After watching the movie back in the early 2000s, I went out and bought the Explosions in the Sky album, The Earth is Not a Cold, Dead Place. To this day, it's still my favorite record of all time. Wow. I even framed it and hung it on the wall in my music room. I've seen them live a few times, and it's an amazing experience every time.
That's really cool. Wow.
Very, very cool.
Yeah.
On the subject of music, here's my hot take. And Joe, I want you to get ready.
Okay.
Prince is way overrated.
Prince?
Terrible synthesizers, meandering guitar solos, and outside of Raspberry Beret, there's nary a hook to be found. Just because you write a lot of songs doesn't mean they should all be released. This goes for you too, Bob Dylan.
Oh, whoa. Those are some hot takes. I love Prince. Now I'm not like Prince's biggest fan. I would have
You're
gone
not vacationing at Paisley Park.
Yeah, exactly. But I would have gone to see Prince if I had the opportunity to. I think that Prince is awesome, and I like a lot of his songs. He made a lot of hits, man. It's hard to argue when like somebody has like hits in 2 decades.
Sure.
I get that maybe he's a volume shooter. That's fine. I understand that, but like it's not like it's bad, right?
No. Yeah. I think I've said it on here before, but the best halftime show I've ever been to was at the Vikings home opener, combining the two, because Prince also from Minneapolis. And they had a gospel choir do like 3 or 4 of his songs, and it was just, it was amazing. So
yeah, that sounds incredible. That will be really awesome. And by all accounts, Prince was like the dopest dude ever.
Yeah.
like a super just like charitable, humble, nice guy. So
Yeah. He was also on New Girl as Prince. They threw a party at Prince's house, and he was there. So if you want to see that, also
that's
that.
cool. Nice.
Justin says, I've given this a lot of thought, and I've tried at various times to get into him, but I always reach the same conclusion. Perhaps it's because I came of age musically in the mid to late 90s when he was no longer relevant, but yet not yet to the point of cool retrospectively. Probably goes without saying that this take is too hot for most people around here, Minneapolis, to handle.
Yeah.
But I stand by my convictions.
You also have to factor in that this is like this in a very similar note. Like Steelers fans are insufferable in Pittsburgh.
I was going to say confirmed. Anywhere.
Anywhere, but especially in Pittsburgh. So I have a lot of friends that are like, I just hate the Steelers because I can't stand their fans that were born and raised in Pittsburgh because it's just like, it's everywhere, right? So maybe it's a little bit of that too, Justin, because you're in Minnesota. Like you're just in the thick of it. It's just too much.
If you're like, oh, there's a new, like, I remember, like, did I buy, or was it, like, in the era of streaming? But I remember being like, oh, like, Prince has a new album out this weekend. Just like, you don't want that. But, like, I don't know how you can argue against, like, and again, it's not a music podcast. I'm not really good at music. I'm not smart about music. That's not my bag. But I don't know how you argue against, like, Purple Rain or 1999 or, like, there's, like, a handful
Little
of
Red
discs.
Corvette. Like, Strawberry Beret is a fucking banger, though. I'm glad that he admitted at least that one. It's like, that's such a good song.
Can you buy at a secondhand store? And our final email from Jerry, subject line 49ers.
What's up, Jerry? How are you doing?
So this is in response to us talking about
what the fuck
Jimmy
are the
Garoppolo.
Niners? Yeah, what the fuck are they gonna do?
My bad if I didn't pick a side about Jimmy G. With his accolades, I'd say keep him for the end of his contract. He has one more year left, and prepare Trey, because personally, Trey isn't ready yet to take over, just still a raw recruit. Even Joe Montana said so.
That's what it seems like, but then Jimmy Garoppolo came out and said bye to Niners fans last week, so...
He says, I actually wanted Zach Wilson. With all those picks, we gave up, or would have been fine with Jones, the original pick.
Okay, so yes. Because that was the whole controversy, and this is what I told you, that, like...
Yes.
Yeah, we've got... Yeah, it seemed like you guys wanted Zach Wilson, and then it seemed like you definitely were going to get Mac Jones, and then the fan base just shamed them into taking Trey Lance.
You're right, Jimmy is a winner wherever he goes. If he brings that team to the playoffs, I'm calling it now. People are going to regret saying get rid of Jimmy.
Yeah, I think so.
He says, got to get back to packing tomorrow, the 12th, which would have been Saturday.
Yeah.
I'm taking Ileana to Monterey for Valentine's Day weekend. And
I saw the pictures.
A day spa for my gift to her. Be fast, never last, don't get past, or you lose that ass, no Monica. I swear you guys should get a soundbite of that line. Where did he send pictures to?
He posted pictures on his Facebook of him and...
oh, gotcha.
Okay, of him and Ileana in Monterey, which I'm a big fan of Monterey. I've taken Rachel there before as well. I think it's one of the coolest places in California, and it's like top tier, like vacation weekend date spot. So good job. Excellent choice. I approve.
Yeah, I've been playing a little bit more Pokemon on Switch. Not the new one, but I've been playing the other ones to get up to the new one, and so I was talking to Jerry a little bit about that.
I found...
Do you know about shiny Pokemon? There's no reason for you to know this, but do you know about shiny Pokemon?
I have heard it in, like, there's just, like, ones that are more rare than others when you catch them. Yes.
It's one in, like, 8,000, I think, and, like, if you watch Pokemon people on Twitch, they're basically all shiny hunters, because, like, there are ways to, like, increase your odds. But it's basically a Pokemon with certain values, which I don't care about, but they have, like, they're just colored differently. So, like,
yeah, it's not, like, different attributes. It's just, like, you just have, like, a rare colored one, right? Like,
yes, correct.
Okay.
There's a specific value, like specific attributes, but I don't know. It's beyond me. I don't care. I don't play it for that reason, whatever. But I was just playing this new one and, like, not shiny hunting. And within an hour of picking the game back up, I found a shiny for the first time in the game. I was like, oh, cool. So I sent a screenshot to Jerry. I'm just like, hey, look at this. He's like, oh, I haven't even caught one yet. So
wow,
it's cool.
That is really cool. Okay, very, very cool. Nice.
Yeah. So
there has to be some kind of, like, I mean, when we were in Japan,
overnight parts from Japan.
They had R34 cards. Do you remember this? Like for your DS.
No.
That was the last time I played Pokemon, and it was whatever ones were out in like 07, 08, 09, like that era. You would have these cards that they sold in Japan but were completely illegal, that you would be able to, like, put a micro SD card in, and you could put games on the micro SD card.
Okay.
And then you'd put it in your Nintendo DS, and, like, it was just like a DS cartridge. But, like, it would have all these things that you could do. Like, so when you'd boot Pokemon, you could be like, oh, only give me, like, level 1,000, whatever.
Right.
You know? And, you know, it was like Game Shark back in the day, kind of. You could do that
Gotcha.
stuff. That was the last time I played. And, like, every time you would, like, a Pokemon would attack you, you would get, like, 40 million XP or whatever. So, like, you would go up, like, 6 levels every time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was, like, the perfect way for me to play it. I played it in, like, 3 hours. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
there's no grind to it. You're just like, doom, 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 doom. You go through the story.
I still remember. I think I don't know if I'll ever forget because I was just like, why are you? But I remember like when Pokemon Red and Blue came out, I remember seeing a kid on the bus play, and he had a level 52 Blastoise by the second gym, and I'm like, it must be taking like 30 hours. Like, why are you doing? He's like, oh, the rest of the game's gonna be easy. I'm like, yeah, but you could have beaten the game already. Like, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing this?
Kids, man. If you have 30 hours when you're 9 years old.
I understand, but like there are other ways to spend those 30 hours. Even if you just want to play Pokemon, I don't know, whatever.
I bet that wasn't like his first time playing through the game. He probably just had reset it and started doing that. It wasn't like, because that's something he must have like thought about and learned, right? Like he didn't just decide to not play the game and just like grind up for 30 hours.
One would think. I have no idea. I don't know.
So second time through, he spent 30 hours at the beginning to make sure it's easier going forward.
Joe, on the street, that's all the emails. family@cageclub.me if you want to email in. It was a good set. Thank you all for writing and for supporting. family@cageclub.me if you want to email, and we'll read on the next show.
Yep.
Joe, on the streets, news about the Fast and Furious. Have you seen anything in the last week about the Fast and Furious?
No, not even about people adjacent to the Fast and the Furious. Oh, The Rock was in the Super Bowl.
The Rock was in the Super Bowl. Yes.
That's what I saw.
I loved it because it's The Rock, and it seemed like Twitter was just like, why is this happening? I'm like, well, you know, why isn't it happening? Right?
It's in L.A. Like, come on, what did you think they were
in L.A., it's on NBC. Deal with it.
Yeah.
So speaking of that, here's a question. Young Rock Season 2, starting March 15th. So as we're recording, just about 1 month from today.
Okay.
But starting next week, which is this week as this episode comes out, I think on Mondays, I told you about this, there's the new show called The End Game, which is a weekly show on NBC starring Marina Baccarin, but of note, because it's directed by and executive produced by Justin Lin.
Yes, you told me about this, yep.
Here is my question to you, and also to the listeners. I do want to hear what they have to think. I don't want to do both the Endgame and Young Rock on a weekly basis at the same time, because I don't want to be like, hey, so here we're doing the movie, and we also have this show, and we also have this show. Like, that seems like a lot. Do we do the Endgame first and then Young Rock after? Or do we wait on the Endgame after we're done with the Young Rock? Like, what are you thinking? Or do we start the Endgame, see if we like it, and then do Young Rock? Like, how do you want to handle two shows on NBC that are both sort of related to the Fastiverse?
I think Young Rock is a mainstay for sure. I think that we should do Endgame. We should definitely start it.
Okay.
See how it goes. And I also think maybe we could just, like, alternate them.
Okay. Because I think there will be, like, 4 episodes, maybe, before there's any Young Rock. So, like, we can probably get, like, halfway or a third of the way through the season.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So, starting next episode, we will be watching the first episode of the Endgame. So, it's available now to stream on NBC, maybe on Peacock, on Hulu, wherever you watch NBC. The Endgame starring Miranda Baccarin, who is from Firefly and probably other stuff. Oh, I think she was in V, maybe the TV show, but I know her from Firefly. So we'll start with the Endgame, and then we'll either continue it or figure it out when Young Rock starts in a month. But the Endgame, tune in if you want, or don't. I don't know how involved Justin Lin is, but like his name is tied to it, and it looks cool, so we'll give it a shot.
Yeah, and like even if we're like, oh, that was a cool episode, like, did you see this thing that was definitely Justin Lin doing it? It doesn't need to be super long, where like Young Rock, like, you know. For sure. So, cool. Speaking of Young Rock, is Dwayne Johnson in F10? The answer, still no. I was thinking, how cool would it have been on an NBC broadcast of the Super Bowl? Be like, by the way, didn't somebody tweet us that? I think somebody tweeted us that, right?
I tweeted that.
Okay, you tweeted that. Nice.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And he did not. He did not mention the Fastiverse, which, you know, I understand, but also...
What if he would have been, like, starting it, and then, like, Vin would have walked out?
Yeah.
High five.
Like, why is this happening? Be like, oh my god.
That everybody would have just turned off their TVs. We wouldn't even need to watch the Super Bowl. It would have been over.
They'd be like, cool. Okay.
No, and then they should have slid an F10 teaser trailer into the fucking Super Bowl.
Do you remember before the pandemic when they're like, hey, we're going to have a whole event, a live event in Miami to unveil the trailer for F9? We're like, oh my god, this is amazing. And then, like, we waited a year and a half for that movie.
Yeah, and the live event was pretty cool. I mean, like, they did... The actors definitely weren't prepared, but the event was cool that they did it to release the trailer. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. All right, Joe, the final thing to do before we welcome in the Mikester is to talk about the Too Fast, Too Furious minute 49, a minute I called Cracker Jack Toys.
We heard you boys wanted to get rid of those Cracker Jack toys.
No, actually, we just figured those cars you got deserve better drivers, which is why we're gonna take them off your hands.
You know, why don't we settle this now?
Wait. How about we settle this on the blacktop, huh? Each car does a down and back tag team style. For slips.
Loser walks home.
We came to race. We'll load them up then.
Come on, bro, let's get these cars. All right, check it out. There's no way we're gonna beat these guys straight up. That Hemi's putting out about 425, and that Yanko's snap a speed on about 5 seconds flat, so... I mean, we're gonna have to pull something out of our ass. The only thing I can think of is save the spray for the way back, the return trip.
Done deal.
All right, let's do this, bro.
I'm getting that orange one.
You ain't ready, Fabio! All right. You each got
So in this minute, tensions flare between our family and Fonzie and Fabio in advance of the race. Brian, Tej, and Suki set the stakes with Fonzie and Fabio. Each car does it down and back, tag team style. Whichever team wins gets the other team's cars. Knowing they're outmatched, Brian and Roman formulate a plan, save the NOS for the end. Roman and Fabio pull up to the line, and Tej begins to lay out the rules of the race as the minute ends. And Joe, I gotta say, this minute proves the Buster truly became a gearhead.
It does. It really, really does.
He does. He slings a lot of lingo here, some of which I don't even know. Like, what does snap a speed on about 5 seconds flat mean? What does that mean?
What does he actually say? What is the quote?
Come on, bro, let's get these cars. All right, check it out. There's no way we're going to beat these guys straight up. The Hemi's putting out about 425. I'm assuming that's horsepower.
Yeah.
And the Yanko will snap a speed on about 5 seconds flat.
I don't know what he's trying to say. Like, I think, like, go 0 to
Is that
60
a
in
0
5.
to 60?
That's what I think, but what is snap a speed?
Snap a speed on about 5 seconds flat, which is how it's what is written on this.
Oh,
maybe he has to become a gearhead because I don't know what he's saying here. It sounds like he knows what he's talking about.
I think that it was supposed to be more like get up to speed, and he's trying to say it with like a cool flair, like in a local
but
dialect type situation. It'll get on its horse by 5 seconds. You know what? Like, you know, something like an idiom.
Yeah. So
that nobody knows though.
But like that doesn't really tie into this race because this race is not like a quarter mile or something. It's like you just go down and go back. So like acceleration matters, but it's like I don't know.
They also have to turn around.
It sounds cool.
This is the balance, right? Like that's why I think that they were like down and back because you have to turn, right? So like they know that they'll beat them if it's just like a one-on-one drag race.
Right.
So like they have to put the turn in there to make it more balanced.
Okay, because he knows that they're outclassed. He says we're going to have to pull something out of our ass. The only thing I can think of is save the spray for the way back, the return trip, which is the NOS, the spray, right?
Yes.
So he's like, okay, we gotta think outside the box. What are we going to do? We're going to save the NOS for the end. It's like, that doesn't feel like enough of a plan.
I think it actually does, though, because like,
so?
if you use it on the way down, you could like overshoot the turn, and you still have to brake. On the way back, you don't have to brake, like, till you pass the line. So it is the smarter play. Get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, once you, like, get up to speed and then you hit the NOS, like, you can go past the line because you're just tagging the other dude in or trying to win the race. Whereas, like, if you use it going down, then you blew it, you have to almost dead stop the car to go around the barrel and then come back, and you don't have any NOS, and he's going to catch up to you because he's faster in a straight line.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough.
So the logic kind of tracks for me. I think that makes sense.
I do think the bigger picture here is that Brian, he's been confident before because he's never lacking in confidence because he is an average white man. We understand that.
Yeah.
But he does step up to Fonzie and Fabio in this minute, like with a real level of confidence.
Yeah, he thinks he's going to win for sure.
No, actually, we just figured those cars you got deserve better drivers, which is why we're going to take them off your hands. It's like, oh, shit, okay.
Yeah. He's playing little mind games too there.
As we'll see in a couple minutes, they get their ass kicked. They kind of have to just like play chicken to win, but like they clearly get outclassed.
Yeah, they don't do well. I always remember that part of the race. It's like it's not close for a very long time.
I have another question for you about the actual logistics of the race. It seems like our family is doing all of the setup. Tej is doing the rules. Tej is going to start it. Suki's saying, loser walks home. Like, it just seems like Fonzie and Fabio, Darden and Corpy came with women, but they're just like, you guys handle it. So, like, I don't want to doubt.
Go ahead.
the integrity of our family, but like it feels like we're making all the rules. You have to play by our rules.
But also, don't forget that Tej has a reputation of running street races. And he wouldn't have this reputation if he didn't run them fairly.
True.
Like,
yeah, okay, fair enough.
He runs like the race with the jump at the beginning. Everybody knows him. He does even the jet ski races. He like takes bets on them, and nobody's bitching that he's cheating. He's just like the guy that just runs the shit. So they're like, if anybody would do it, like even if he's boys with them, like there's the sanctity of the race, and we know Tej will do us right?
Yeah, fair. So what did you notice in this? I see something that I missed that I guess I have to deal with, but where is that? But what did you notice in this minute?
So it was really hard. There wasn't a lot behind them, and I was still trying to find out where they are. The only sign that I saw was an entrance, like a sign saying, when the cars are lined up, behind them, if you go to the left, you will enter on 863 and 112, the two highways. Doesn't really help us because you could enter this anywhere, right? So
I'm gonna take a look. But yes. I
like look. It's just like this is this way to the entrance ramp, right? It's like get on I-95 or something.
Sure.
It's like, okay, so kind of, if we knew something else, if I see another sign, I can definitely start to narrow it down, but as of right now, nothing.
Yeah, because that could be like literally any street that like needs to get to those two highways, right? Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. The other thing, though, is that behind him on the wall, there's a phone number. I don't know what the sign says. Like, you can't read the sign. It never shows like what this phone number is for. It's just something that's there. Actually, you know what, motherfucker? Why don't we just Google the phone number? Well, go ahead, you call it.
Oh, it's on the wall. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Google the phone number and see what it is, and then see if I should call it. Because I don't want to know ahead of time. I guess I should know ahead of time, but you Google it and give me.
I know what it is, and this is going to tell us exactly where it is. I didn't even think about this.
Okay. Should I call the number or no?
Yeah. I think it'd be fine.
What is it?
Do you want to know?
It's
nothing scary. They're not going to be angry at you.
Is it going to be answered by a person or by a machine, do you think?
You have a possibility of both.
Okay, let's see.
Cool, I found out where the fuck this is now.
We're calling kind of late in this East Coast number.
I found exactly where this fucking is now. Perfect. Okay.
Hello?
Hi.
Hello?
Hi. I'm sorry. I think I have the wrong number. I'm sorry. I can't. When he answers the phone in Spanish, I don't think I can keep up with that conversation.
Yeah, it's Jones's Boatyard.
Okay.
And that's what he was saying.
Okay.
Like Jones's Boatyard. Yeah, so I think this might be precisely where they are, my friend. I think we figured it out. I didn't even think to reverse search. Here, let me send this to you. You take a look around and tell me if that's not exactly where they're standing.
Northwest.
Here.
South River Drive, Miami, right?
Yep, check that picture out that I just sent you. That's like 100% it, right?
It sure looks like it.
Doesn't it? It looks like that's exactly where they're about to race. Because the wall was like right behind him, and like the building stops there. So I'm imagining at one point the phone number was where like the machine shop is.
Yeah. I like a little bit of mystery. I did not think he was going to... Also, the fact that he answered after 5 rings threw me for a loop.
Yeah, it definitely did, right?
Because they're closed. They closed at 4 p.m., according to Google.
Jones's...
Boatyard Inc., right? Or no?
Yeah, what's it called? Jones's Dry Dock.
If I knew what to listen for, I might have been able to have that conversation better. But I felt...
It's okay.
It's fine.
You did your due diligence, bud. I think that
I called.
Yeah.
And it still exists, right? It still exists as the boat dock.
I also thought that, like, it wouldn't have existed. Like, like, these numbers are, what, 20, 30 years old now?
Correct,
so.
yeah. Flesh that out on the document, which is very cool. Jones Dry Dock. Very cool.
Yeah, so now we know exactly where this is. This, I mean, if we have that phone number, they wouldn't have... It doesn't seem like they moved. It looks just like what it was. So, cool. I was really worried that we weren't going to find out where the fuck they have this race, but I think that we did.
You know, it looks like a relatively busy area. There's a Radisson Hotel across the street.
That could be, gentrification, bud.
Yeah, that's true.
We're also talking about 20 years ago.
There's a yacht thing around the corner. There's a lake right there, too.
Yeah, there's water on the other side.
Well, there's like a little, like, not like a river, but like a river style, like a narrow through, like a straight through, and then there's an actual lake.
Is there a place that they would have turned around? Now, in the next minute, we have to check out where they turn around, because, like, this road goes, right? Like, it just keeps...
Wait, so what highways did you say it was approaching? You said it was approaching...
It's in the dock. It's
836 and 112. So where are those?
Yeah.
836 is the Dolphin Expressway toll road, which runs east-west south of that.
Yeah.
And then 112 is east-west north of that. Okay. So I guess you got to go... It's both ways, but yeah, okay. I would imagine, actually, that sign might be pointing toward, like, northwest 21st Street, which would kick you out onto 953, which is a northwest or north-south highway. And then from there, you either get on 112 or you get on 836.
Yeah. It seems like there's, like, a big... like, if we're looking at it where the boat dock is and where the sign was pointing, it's telling you that, like, up ahead and to the left here is probably, like... Yeah, like Northwest 31st Street, one of those kind of situations. Like, even there.
Right, yes. It's definitely pointing toward a east-west street, like a 31st or 21st or 27th or something, that'll get you to the highway, that'll get you to the highways that you need to get onto.
Yes, I think so, too.
We deduced it. We cracked the case.
That's actually pretty cool, dude. Okay, so we know where it is. Because, like, they had to be standing in front of this thing, if that's the phone number, and the phone number still exists, and it looks like just where they were, so...
Cool.
Okay,
right.
One last thing, though.
Yeah, go for it.
I did notice, is that, did you notice that Brian is, the back of his shirt says Tej's Garage?
Yes. I got to add that here.
That's very interesting to me, because we didn't see the back of it until then. Tej's Garage, with his nameplate on it, implies that he actually works at Tej's Garage.
Which makes sense, because if we... Remember we did the whole, like, logistics of,
he lives outside in the boat, right outside of it. Yeah, exactly. So this is just linking that evidence up that, like, we kind of assumed, but, like, they're adding more evidence in there.
You know what we need? We need a Tej's Garage set of shirts for us.
Oh, dude, why don't we just print them and put them on the fucking store? That should be the next shirt.
Would you want one that says Joe, or would you want that says Brian?
I would want one that says Joe.
Okay.
Yeah, I would definitely prefer one that says my name.
I'll make a note here next to the Brazzers.
But even like the t-shirt, like to get the logo of Tej's Garage and put it on a t-shirt.
It's just like a font, right? Like we could find that script, like a font that like looks like that.
I think so too, yeah.
Cool, okay. So I have 3 different questions here. I don't know if I like one or two.
I don't
want to do more than one.
Okay.
But we have, so what is Brian's idea that he, quote, pulls out of his ass?
Okay.
That'd be to win the race, which is to save the spray for the return trip. Which of the 2 cars is Roman eyeing if he and Brian win the race?
Oh,
he says
that's
the orange
a good
one,
question.
Which is the Dodge Challenger.
It's logical, but it also... Okay, go ahead, continue.
Or who is the only member of the family present at the race who doesn't speak up in the lead-up to the down and back race? The answer is Jimmy, because Tej and Suki... Well, Roman doesn't either. I don't like that last question's tough, so let's get rid of that last one.
Yeah.
So do you like that second one? The second one's probably better. It's one of 2 choices, right? It's the Dodge Challenger or
the Yanko
Camaro.
Yeah. And don't put the colors in them, though.
Which means that I'm going to get it wrong.
Well, yeah. I mean, the Yanko Camaro is blue. That's the dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
Well, I have to remember that, and I also have to remember him saying that I want the orange one.
And also, remember later in the movie, he's driving the orange one. And Brian's in the blue one, right?
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember. We'll get there. I was thinking, I know this is like a crazy thing, but I was thinking recently, I'm like, I kind of missed the first movie. Like, I feel like when we were in the minute for the first movie, I felt like I was watching that movie all the time, but now we watch it once every 4 months. I'm like, I can watch the first movie. I'm not going to watch it again, like, by choice, because we're going to get to it soon enough, but, like, I missed the first movie.
It's so good. It's so good for no reason. Like, even just, like, minute by minute, I agree. But I do, if the original one's on TV, I'll still put it on. Like, even
now, yeah, with this, like, it feels like we're watching Too Fast all the time, right? Like, I'm tired of this movie because we're watching it. We're watching 15 minutes of it a week, right? So
yeah, 15 minutes of 1 minute of it a week.
Minute 49, Cracker Jack toys. Which of the 2 cars is Roman eyeing if he and Brian win the down and back race? The answer is the Dodge Challenger.
Yeah.
Do we know who drove what car yet or no?
Oh, no, I don't. I mean, we did. It's in there. It's in the document somewhere, I think.
Keep fucking that up. Hold on.
Because we definitely
Vehicle used a lot by a main character for a long time. Corpy's car, Too Fast, Too Furious. Corpy drives the Yanko Camaro.
Okay.
So I'll say Corpy, who is Fonzie's. So I'll say Fonzie's Chevy Camaro Yanko or Fabio's Dodge Challenger.
Okay.
And the answer is Fabio's Dodge Challenger.
Okay. That doesn't help at all. I
No,
like the
no, it
distinction.
doesn't.
It absolutely does not help, though.
I also think we have so many bonus episodes. Like we just did the Friday Night Lights one. We're going to do Transporter 2 as a bonus episode, but like we're going to hit minute 50 soon. And it feels like a time to do like a check-in, but maybe we just wait to the end of the movie and then just do it all.
No. Minute 50, we do a scoring. I like that.
Okay, so we'll do another bonus episode soon. Another reason to join the Patreon, get a DVD, Friday Night Lights episode, Transporter 2
episode. Oh, did we do it as an episode? We didn't just like take the quiz, we like did it?
Our first bonus episode was the entire first quiz. We didn't do a halfway check-in.
I feel like we did just we should just take it ourselves.
Okay.
And just report what we got.
And then we'll do an episode when we finish the quiz.
Yes, that's how we should do it.
Okay. Because right now, 49 minutes, but 52 questions, so.
Yeah.
Joe, do you remember how many people are at the race?
Let me count. The 4 with the 4 Fonzie and his team, because they have 2 girls. Then you got 5 will be Brian and Roman is 6. And you got Suki, Jimmy, and Tej. It is 9, right?
Correct.
Yeah. It took me a minute, but I'll get there.
Well, we're also like, it's the same scene we just watched. So like, hopefully, theoretically, even if you don't remember last week, you just saw all those characters again, right? So
yeah, I did. I just saw them today. True.
All right. Let's take a break and let us bring in Mike to talk about The Transporter.
Welcome back to Too Fast, Too Forever. This is episode number 226, The Transporter. This episode is brought to you by Brothers Auto Transport LLC, who is a regional vehicle carrier operating a fleet of 110 company-owned automotive transporters. If you need your car moved, call Brothers Auto Transport. I guess Pierre liked it too.
Speaking of brothers in the background.
Did you hear him just yell?
I did. Well, welcome back to Too Fast, Too Forever with us tonight to kick off a 3-part crossover extravaganza with part 1 here, part 2 on our Patreon, part 3 on his show. We have the resident historian, Mike Manzi. Hello, Mike.
Hey, guys. I got my Orangina. I'm ready to rock. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. Now, this is, of course, not only just a trilogy, this is a quadrilogy. Stay them only in the first 3. There's also a TV show.
Oh, really? There's a 4th one?
There's a 4th one called, like, Refueled or Re-something that came out, like... So this is 02, 05, 08, and then one, like, 6 or 7, like, I think, like, 15 or 16 or something. There was a kind of a reboot, sort of. Now, Mike, you said... We asked before, you've seen the first 3... So you've seen what we are going to cover, but you have not seen the other stuff. Is that correct?
So I've actually seen the Refueled one as well. I have no clear...
Oh, okay.
I have no clear memory of it. I know I have like the stub somewhere. I remember seeing it, and I've never watched the TV show. I didn't know there was a show until I was doing research for this episode.
We'll talk about, like, I guess the legacy of... I don't know, but like considering how big Transporter, the franchise is, to have 4 movies and a TV show, like, I would think that I would have known about the TV show, just, like, from, like, you know, ads, but, like, no, I don't think I'd heard about it either.
How long did it run, and what channel was it on?
Transporter the Seer. It's an English-language, French-Canadian action thriller television series, spin-off from the film series. Originally, HBO and Cinemax were involved, but they dropped out. It was broadcast by a bunch of different... The Movie Network, maybe in the U.S., I don't know. 2 seasons, 24 episodes.
Wow.
2012 through 2014. So it was after the trilogy, but before the reboot.
Okay.
It's crazy to think that this movie is 20 years old. That blows my mind.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. There's also... Wait, what is this?
Is this called Le Transporteur? Like, I know there's a lot of, like, French directors and producers involved in this project.
Hold on.
And that's fun.
I need to pump the brakes here for a second, because I just found out something, Mike, that blows my mind, that ties into something you and I have done.
Oh, sweet.
There's the Transported Trilogy, which we're going to talk about in these 3 shows, right? Then in 2015, there's Refueled, which was announced in 2013. that Luc Besson, who co-wrote this, is going to co-finance, distribute, and produce and write. Ed Skrein replaced Statham, and it came out in 2015. Here's the crazy part, Mike. In an interview with IGN, Louis Leterrier confirmed Jason Statham's cameo in Collateral, providing a briefcase to Vincent, is his character of Frank Martin. So what? Collateral is technically a Transporter movie.
He's the Transporter in that movie?
I guess so. And then in America, the Motion Picture, which came out last year, which was like a Netflix thing, which is like, I think an animated thing with like all bunch of voice actors, Zebby Gillespie, I don't know who this person is, voiced the Transporter in America, the Motion Picture as the stagecoach driver of Benedict Cosby Arnold.
Okay.
So in like 1776, there was a version of the Transporter, but just he was Benedict Arnold.
Oh my God.
Okay.
That's insane.
And then apparently the Refueled is going to be a kickoff to a new trilogy that they never did 2 or 3. And then there was a TV show that ran for 2 seasons. So this is a complicated thing. More complicated. Like I did not go too far in depth into the franchise because I want to sort of save like any kind of spoilers for the future ones or whatever.
Yeah.
But like this is wild.
Does the character pop up somewhere in like Valerian, City of 1,000 Planets or whatever? Like
I hope so. I have no idea. But Joe, you and I think I'm safe in saying that we have never seen any of these movies. Is that correct?
Yeah. This is the first time I watched this movie because, you know, like we said, like once we knew we were going to do this, it was like, might as well just save it.
So this movie, The Transporter, 2002, was directed by Louis Leterrier and Corey Yoon. Leterrier did Now You See Me, which came up recently on a Letterboxd game.
Yep.
He did the Edward Norton Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
He did Clash of the Titans, and he also did the sequel to this, Transporter 2. And then Corey Yoon, Y-U-E-N, did DOA Dead or Alive, which is often referred to as like the worst video game movie.
Okay,
Ooh,
yeah.
Got to see it.
And he's also done a lot of Asian cinema, including like Jackie Chan. Like I don't know if he's a stunt guy. I don't know like why a film has 2 directors like this. Maybe he does stunts. I don't know.
That's what I think. Yeah.
But Leterrier is definitely the bigger name, the more padded, at least American resume here. And then it was written by Luc Besson and Robert Mark Kamen. So Luc Besson, very famous, did Leon and Lucy and The Fifth Element and Taken and Valerian and Anna. And Anna, of note, was with Owen Shaw, and I think maybe even Helen Mirren too, maybe. So a couple other Shaw, at least one other Shaw in that. And then Robert Mark Kamen co-wrote with Luc Besson Fifth Element and Taken, but also wrote solo the first Karate Kid movie.
Oh.
And as far as I can tell, both of them wrote this entire original trilogy. So it's not like they're passing the buck into some other writer who's just like, yeah, take the character, do what you want with it. Like, it seems like this is their babies. All 3 of them are the babies.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a feeling like this feels like almost a comic book adaptation of some kind that never was a comic or something, like this is their chance to sort of, maybe we've been thinking of this guy as a character to use in some form of medium or another, because they got the same creative team the whole way through the trilogy. I mean, they've got to have some love for this to see it all the way through. I like that.
Oh, so yes, I agree with all of that. And I'm looking now at the wiki because I was like, is this a comic? It's not. But Corey Yoon is the stunt, like the fight choreographer. So I guess he gets co-director credit, but like he does the Hong Kong style fight scenes. So that's why.
Okay.
Yes. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
I wanted to go a little bit in depth. I don't always do this, but I want to see like the rating and the budget because I'm like, this kicks off a franchise, right? Of 3 films here, another apparent trilogy that only was 1 movie, and another TV show.
And it doesn't end. And it doesn't end like on a cliffhanger, like.
No.
Like, we're starting a franchise. You know what I mean? Correct. Like we get now a lot. It just was 1 movie. So how did this happen?
I don't know. I don't know because it had a $21 million budget, which is not a lot. It made 43 worldwide, including 25 in the US. So like it made money, but not a ton of money. The first one has a 51 on Metacritic. The highest rating on Metacritic is the second movie. The first one is a 54% of Rotten Tomatoes. It's the highest of the franchise. And it got 73% by the audience. So not bad, but none of those are like good.
Right.
This is also Statham's first leading role because people saw him in The One, the Jet Li movie, The One. Yeah. And they're like, that guy rules. We're going to write a movie for him. So Jason Statham's first leading role is this.
Okay.
He did most of his own stunts, the car driving scenes. He learned how to hotwire a car. He knew how to kickbox. He trained in martial arts. Maybe it's just this guy is cool. Let's do more of these movies with this guy. I don't know, but I can't outside of that, beyond that, I don't know why this is a 4-movie TV show spin-off beloved thing. It's good.
Yeah.
It's not great, I don't think, but
No.
like for this to be like the seed for something massive, it's like that was the most surprising thing to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's pretty wild, and I see so much similarity between this and the Fast and the Furious upon watching it, beyond like the very obvious things. It also, I mean, I guess the Fast and Furious kind of fit the same mold, right? Like they just made like one movie, and you're like, why the fuck did they make 9 of these? You know, like what did you really see here that was like, okay, let's make, you know, one that's pretty much straight to DVD for the third one with none of the real characters, but like we'll do it again, and it's like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know either, because this is sort of a time, I feel, before the world was franchise crazy. I mean, you know, this is like, we didn't even have the full Matrix trilogy out at this point. And so it's pre-MCU, like there's all these weird factors involved. I feel like maybe 20th Century Fox, which I believe this is released under, was kind of feeling the pressure of like, yeah, we need kind of like a fast car franchise, like Fast and Furious has got a movie going, like let's try that. Maybe there was Gone in 60 Seconds. Like you said, they got Statham as a star to sort of mold these films around and like cut his teeth. It's relatively, I guess, cheap. You know, all things considered, it's made out of the country, so they've got all this French involvement. It feels very strange and foreign at times, and unlike American structured films and stuff. So I don't know. Maybe they're just like, let's see what happens, and then why not roll the dice? If, to my knowledge, I think the second one's better, and then the third one's worse. Like I think, you know, it goes up and up then down again, kind of thing. So maybe they run out of gas by the third one, and that's why they dip.
You know, and the one thing, and I did not look this up, but I feel like, and this might not be true, that there's something different about the third one in terms of the production of it, because these first 2 are on HBO Max, the third one is not.
That's
and I
weird.
remember, like, years and years ago, I was like at Target, like I wasn't like going there to buy these movies, but they had the first 2 were like $5 on Blu-ray. I'm like, oh, I'll buy those because like I want to see those movies. Like, this is like way before the podcast, right? Like I'm just like, oh, Transporter, Statham, like him, I'm gonna buy these. But like the third one was like $15. I'm like, why? The first 2 are cheap. Why? So like, I don't know. And again, didn't look it up. But I'll look it up for the third one for Mike's show. I don't know if Transporter 3 is like a different production studio or different rights or different distribution or whatever, but it feels like the first 2 are more linked, and the third one is kind of its own thing. Even though the same writers, it's still Statham, it's still the same franchise, it feels like the production side, the back end of it, is different. I don't know if that's true or not. We'll find out in a couple days.
That tracks. It makes sense to me.
Yeah, and I like Statham in this. I think this is a great vehicle. It was good to see, like, I forget, like, happy Jason Statham, like, he feel like, you know, because he doesn't, like Shaw never really smiles, right? And like he's always sort of got a twist on his face, and
he does with the baby. Let's not forget the baby scene, Mike. Yeah. He loves that baby.
But like this is like still like lock stock Statham, where he's like having a gas and smiling and doing one-liners and like cracking himself up at times. So it was good to see all that as well. And I feel like that you could see sort of the star power generating from this vehicle.
So this movie, if you have not seen it, again, is on HBO Max if you want it. I thought at first he was a getaway driver, but he's just like a professional driver, right? And he's very particular, like the best drivers are.
Yeah.
And I'm very curious to see where he goes. Like he starts out with some skills, like he's a good shot, and he's a good fighter, but it feels like I'm wondering if Fast and Furious style, if he's going to become like best in the world at all these things, right? Because it seems like
he starts out like they tell you that he's like former military and
right.
like he's essentially like a Navy SEAL that now is like a criminal getaway driver.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was a little disappointed he didn't fly the plane at the end. Like I want to see him fly more, like drive more stuff, or you know, he's a transporter. Like I think I
guess they're going for some believability, but I did think he like hijacked that plane, was going to fly the plane. Just though he's just the passenger. Because
they show a picture of him in like a pilot's like suit and stuff. So I'm like, okay, cool. He's hijacking this plane so he can go fly it, and then he's like, no, you're going to fly the plane. I'm just going to skydive out of it, which is also badass. But like,
yes, yeah. So he has a set of rules that he plays by. You know, the job is the job, no names, never look in the package. And so it's kind of like a Baby Driver style opening, right? He gets away, he gets these, bank robbers to safety. But then his second job, he's transporting a package and he stops because he has a flat tire and he sees that the bag in the trunk is a body in a bag. And he pulls over to get an Orangina that he lets the body drink a little bit of. he's delivering it to the biggest Fast and Action film, which I had no idea before the movie started that he was in this. But Matt Scholes, aka Vince from the Fast and Furious, is the villain in this movie. We'll talk about him. And then he kind of just like this package he's supposed to be delivering, he kind of like develops a thing for this woman. And then the whole plot of the movie is taking down this like body smuggling, people trafficking from China, I guess, right? That her father is running with Vince. And that's kind of the plot, that he like doesn't want to get into it, but then sort of gets into it and like needs to be a good guy, sort of.
Yeah. Let's face it, he falls in love. Like, if the music in this movie tells you anything, this is like the weirdest meet cute ever. Like... So
in the original screenplay, he was gay.
No kidding.
The original idea, he was gay.
It would have been cool if him and the inspector were together. Like, I love
They definitely have, yes. Yeah, right? So the love scene they added with this woman, Shu-Qi, Shuqi, who plays Lei, L-A-I, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That love scene was added specifically to draw attention away from the potential remaining vestiges of the aspect in the script. So he was originally conceived to be gay, which is cool. And then they're like, oh, no. He needs to be a badass action dude. We're going to have this woman seduce him, basically.
It would have been, oh man, if only he could have just like pushed her away and the scene could have ended. And then they could have had sort of a little bit of the, a little bit of each or so, he could have had, but whatever.
Because the most interesting dynamic, I think, in this movie is the way that he and the detective help each other at their jobs by being a cop and a criminal, by doing the thing that the other can't do.
Right.
And it just makes sense for them to be in love also.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love that idea. I don't think, has that movie come along where like the cop and the criminal, not that they're chasing each other, but like they are with each other. Like that's a very interesting dynamic indeed that I would like to see.
I'm Googling cop and criminal in love movie.
Well, I guess you could argue like there's subtext
going to be a lot of
in Heat, and there's a lot of that subtext in Point
But I think
Break,
subtext. But... Oh, Mike, a movie we podcasted about, maybe my favorite movie, the sexiest movie that's ever been made.
Jupiter Ascending.
Out of sight. No, Out of Sight.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay. Out of sight.
Because she's a U.S. Marshal. He's a criminal.
Yeah. Great
and
call.
How can you resist either of them?
Absolutely. All right. Well, there it is. And that's a terrific movie. It's like a perfect film. So I guess the premise is sound.
There's a bunch of people. Yeah, I mean, a bunch of movies. I don't know if they're as clear. Oh, another movie we podcasted about, Mike. Raising Arizona.
Okay. Yeah. But that's not exactly.
Although she kind of retires when they get married, right? Like they're not actively cop and criminal.
Yeah. And Out of Sight's more what I was thinking, where there's like, she's like hunting the guy that she's into, kind of situation, and yeah.
But it's out there, and
Awesome.
They're sometimes great movies, right? So, but Joe, what did you think of the Transporter? Watching this, not knowing what the franchise would become, would you think that this would become this whole thing, or like, where'd you land on this first movie?
I sometimes struggle with action movies just because this one was a little chaotic for my brain at points. There's a lot of hand-to-hand fighting. They do some interesting things. So, like, I like that they use goofy weaponages. That always keeps me in it, like with the axes and he rips the candlestick off the wall type situations. Like, those are really cool. It feels like something that a lot of people that love action movies would like, so I can definitely see it continuing on. But yeah, it's Jason Statham in an action movie. I liked all the Fast and Furious parts and the parts where he's not fighting so much better than all the action sequences, which were cool, but they also felt so similar to so many set pieces we see in the Fast and the Furious that I was like, it's not that interesting, right? Because, like, there's a couple set pieces here that are pretty much straight from the Fast and the Furious.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
I mean, like, granted, I'm taking, yeah, it's the other way around, right? Like, the Fast and Furious is stealing whoever, but like,
well, that I think is what's hard, because like Mike said, this is a 20-year-old movie. It's hard to know. Like, there's a thing where he has a button in his car that changes his license plate. I'm like, that can't be the first movie. That's probably in a Bond movie, but like, I don't know where that. But I'm like, that might have been first. I don't know, right? Like, it's just like there's things that are just like, was that a copy of a thing, or did other things copy that, or like, I don't know. It's hard to tell, like, especially in the 90s, 2000s, where like this simultaneously somehow looks like good and cool and also like super shitty because it's just like of that time. It's like, I don't know how revolutionary this is, or just like, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think I have an answer for you either. And and like, obviously all these guys, like, if you're making a movie like this, you definitely love all the other movies like this, right? Like you wouldn't make it if you didn't like have some kind of fondness for this. So like I'm sure that they're all just like watching it like, "Oh yeah, that was really cool," and like let's do that too. So
Mike, you said you think the second one is better, but what did you like this first one?
I feel like I liked it more the last time I saw it after watching, you know, like all the stuff that came after it. But I still had a pretty fun time, and yeah, I'd say it's like an average action movie in relation to everything going on nowadays. I mean, Matt Schultz has no luck with trucks, right? He's in the same position he was at the end. History repeats itself, but I feel like there's other callbacks. Like he definitely goes Indiana Jones at the end under the truck. Like it feels very much like a stunt reel kind of thing, you know, where it's like we got to fill in the gaps so we could get to these crazy action sequence ideas. I just don't feel like they're executed as well as they could have been. There's a lot of quick cutting, and it's hard to read a lot. I think it gets better along the way once you get used to the language of the movie making and stuff. But like, yeah, it's all about the set pieces. It's all about getting to the oil slick fight in the motorcade. Yeah, I don't know. Just this time around, I think my biggest issue was like he stops being a transporter like halfway. Like I almost wanted the whole movie to be more like The Chase with Charlie Sheen, that Riff Coogan movie,
or Baby Driver, right? Like
yeah, or that.
Give me some Baby Driver situation.
Just more sort of transporting. I don't know. Like I knew it wasn't this, but I wanted it almost to be like, all right, he finds out it's the lady in the car, so he keeps going, and then they're after him, and now it's like, all right, the whole movie's a chase sequence or something. But like, you know, it's not that. It is what it is, and for what it is, I think they did a pretty good job, especially for the time. I think the effects and all that kind of stuff comes off pretty well in comparison to today. It just lacks a certain amount of adrenaline that I think I'm more used to, and a little more scope than I need, I think.
I think you're right, Mike. That's a good way to describe it. It does somehow feel low stakes.
Yeah.
Right? Like you don't.
I think it feels European in that way. I think that's a Luc Besson influence. I think
it almost starts and stops at times like that.
That, and I never feel like he's in any sort of danger.
Oh yeah, he's superhuman. Yeah.
Already from the jump, from the very beginning, he does not like grow into it. He just is.
Yeah, it starts, I feel like, with his nerves, and I don't know, ends with his fists. And he has like a crazy hideout in that weird lighthouse castle that it's all booby trapped. It felt a little like the Bat Cave at one point and stuff. So definitely like superhero vibes coming off of there, like anti-hero. I mean, it's like a shaved Wolverine at one point in this movie when he's like shirtless for 15 minutes.
Yeah, which is cool, and we'll get to that. But I feel like the issue that I have with this movie is that I think Statham is great. The fights are great. Some of the action, like some of the ideas, like especially the oil slick fight, which we'll talk about, are really cool. And I think it's just kind of poor filmmaking. Like I don't think that they're highlighted or showcased in a way that is deserving of like the ideas they have. I don't get the sense, like Joe, you talk about a lot about how like you get a sense of certain movies can convey driving fast well.
Yeah.
Which is not necessarily this, but like I feel like this movie does not do. I don't feel like his kicks and his punches are landing with any kind of force.
Yes, I can see that. That was part of my description of low stakes.
Yeah. And I think stuff in here is really cool, and like Statham is doing a great job with it. But as a movie, like as a presentation, I'm just like, yeah, I think it's fine. Like I think if you get like an action director, like if you get like Gareth Evans who did like The Raid, right? Like if you get somebody who like really does this, because like there's a scene where Statham fights two dudes with axes, and you're like, fuck yeah, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, okay,
yeah,
right? Like it's just all right. Like there's cool ideas, and he's always badass, but it's just like the movie is not elevating the screenplay, I don't think. And like I know that's like a very sort of snobby way to say that, but like I think the action here could be so much cooler. Like this could be a great movie if I don't know if it's the shot, I don't know if it's the editing, I don't know if it's the sound, I don't know if it's a combination of all of it, I don't know what it is, but there's something here that's holding it back from really highlighting. I think this is probably a better screenplay than a movie.
Yeah, I think that might have been what earned its sequels and stuff, is there's a lot of potential here. Like there really is, you know, like like you said, Joey, like if it just had more money and a better director and, leave Statham in there. But I think a major issue is he's doing too many of his own stunts. Like they want us to know too much that it's him, and I don't really need that as much. And how easy is it to stunt a bald dude anyway? Like you could get an amazing, and then you get your real hits and your impact, which I agree this lacks a lot of, and leaves it feeling, I don't want to say goofy, but like kind of at times. It just feels cartoonish sometimes when he beats the shit out of a guy and then instead of killing him, he gives him like a funny expression and knocks him out or so. I don't know. It just, like even coming down to his execution blows, like it just sort of lacked that.
So the opening scene, the opening action thing, he's Frank Martin, a getaway driver, and at least in this scene, he's got a BMW 750i E38, which I only note because this is a car podcast. I couldn't tell you what that is for the life of me. But
it's the biggest BMW.
But this is the only one that's a one-of-a-kind, Joe.
Is
with
it?
A manual 6-speed gearbox.
Oh, I did see him shifting, and I never connected that they all came automatic. That makes sense, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
cool.
I think other cars, I think aftermarket people modded it to look like this, but this is the only official one that's a manual 6-speed gearbox that was like, I guess, made by BMW, I guess. I don't know.
For the movie. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
But what's cool about this is that just like Gosling in Drive, just like Baby Driver, he's like, we're doing, like, the job is a job. I've been paid to do a certain thing. I'm not going to do anything beyond that. And 4 dudes instead of 3 get in the car after the bank robbery. He's just like, I'm not going till one of you gets out.
Yeah, he's like, this is the weight, this is the shit, like, these are my shocks, these are the fuel.
This is how I prepared the car.
Yeah, so one of you needs to go.
And then they're like, no, drive. He's like, no, it's not going to work. And then eventually the guy in the front shoots one of the guys in the back, they drop him out, and they go. And she's like, okay, cool. Like, that's a guy who's just like, his skills, I guess, are in such demand. They're like, also, like, why can't we just kill you? He's like, you don't know the code to start the car. He's like, well, okay, that's fair enough.
Makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, and you find out their second getaway driver sucks and like got them caught. Yeah. So good luck.
Who looked like European Jesse, by the way. Did he not have like big Jesse vibes with the goofy Jetta that's white? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. What I loved about this opening chase is that he drives the car off like an overpass onto a flatbed transport truck, which is cool.
Yes.
And then shoots another car off that transport truck, like the flatbed, to use it as like a bowling ball to take out cop cars. And then he backs down and then he gets away again. I'm just like, that's like, it's stuff like that. I'm like, this is so cool. Like, and like we've seen similar things elsewhere, but like it's done really well. And I just sort of wish like it was done a little bit better, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun kind of chain reaction type stuff in this movie too. There's a scene when he takes off the parachute at the end. He does the same kind of move. It like drops on a car and it skids out. But then it like hits another car and they both instantly explode, like sort of Simpson style. So just like I was like, all right. But
yeah, the cars do. Every car that makes impact with another car blows to shit, which was interesting to see. Like there's no actual crashes. It's just like explosion, explosion every time they touch. And I was like, that's a bit much.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you know, a lot of explosions in this movie.
There is.
So the second job is transferring the bagged living body, which he sees when he fixes the flat. This is what I said before. So Shu-Chi, who plays Lei, is it Lei or is it Lei?
I think it's Lei because he says Lei was lying to you towards the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this actress spoke almost no English when she was cast. And she does a pretty good job. Like, it's clear that English is not her first language, but it's not like Bai Ling, who is, like, in Crank 2, just not speaking, like, no language. It's just, like, she's just making sounds, right? Yeah. Like, Shu-Chi, like, does a pretty good job here, but there's that scene where she, like, makes the French breakfast pastry or whatever, and, like, she reads it out of the cookbook because apparently she just could not say that word, which is, like, a difficult word, but she's just, like, they had her read it out because it's, like, the character doesn't know how to say it either. It's not like the actress doesn't know, but, like, the character, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, but for someone who didn't know any English, she and Steve like could not communicate on set. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was great.
You know, not to be rude, I had a harder time understanding the inspector sometimes. Just because I think that actor was way more into his groove of whatever he does on a regular basis. But yeah, I thought she was great too. You know, she did the good action stuff when she had to, and no problem understanding her.
I also like, and this is something that I don't know if I've seen, but like he uses her as like and again, this is maybe not great in terms, you know, woman as an object, but like he throws her at one of the cops who's like investigating his car.
Yeah,
and then He uses her as like, here, you take this, and like the guy catches her, and then he just beats the two cops up. Like I was like, that's pretty cool.
That reminds me of Get Help with Thor and Loki. He's like, help, my brother, and he just throws him at the guards and proceeds to beat them up.
Like it's cool. Like I like that. I appreciate that. I also like that. Like even though she's an object there, like when they get back to the house, she's like, "Can I go?" He's like, "Yeah, please." Like just by all means, like, be your own woman. And then like she sticks around. But I'm like kind of quickly, she like gets on even footing with him.
Yeah,
which is cool. Which
She's
is I think rare in an action movie.
Yeah, but I mean, we've seen stuff like that. Like he's like just rough out on the outside, and she can break through to him pretty easy, and yeah, it was cool. It worked for me. That part didn't bother me at all, though.
At first I was a little like, what's up with her? Like, why was she being transported in a bag? Like, what's going on here? He's not asking her like any questions, and then she's like snooping around, and I like that where you find out about him through her and stuff. And so I was glad eventually that she had some kind of motive to needing him, sticking around, the 400 people being trafficked and all that whole kind of thing. It was kind of interesting. Like, you don't really see that too much in movies where it's just like two characters kind of floating like in orbit for a couple scenes where there's like, I don't know what's really going on yet. And then the inspector shows up and things start to like, oh, good. It's like an alibi and stuff starts playing out. So I thought it was good.
Also, as we're learning about him through her, like you're saying, Mike, that picture that we see of like his young Frank with the monkey is actually Statham the monkey. Like
nice.
That's like a little Statham.
I was gonna ask. I thought,
holding a monkey,
yeah, that
cool.
makes sense. Yep.
I think we should talk about, because like he's supposed to bring lie to Vince, and he kind of does, like it backfires, whatever. It doesn't go exactly as planned. But Vince in this movie is clearly Vince. But apparently the actor Matt Scholes wanted to be, quote, slim and sort of like a raven, because he's very thin compared to Vince, because Vince is like bulky and muscly. And the actor fasted for 16 days and lost 40 pounds.
Jesus.
So, like, I can see a version where, like, obviously, we've all seen the first movie a bunch, but like, he's so visually different. It'd be like, oh, I didn't know that was Christian Bale in The Machinist. It's like, yeah, because he lost like 80 pounds. He's just like one of those like transformations in a way.
Yeah.
That like, he looks really different.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I was like, Vince is way powered down in this movie. He looks so just.
And I don't know why he needed to. It doesn't change the role for me, right? Like, it's a weird choice stylistically. It's like, he could have been like a bigger dude in a suit, and like if they just put like a little bit baggier suit on him, it wouldn't have looked like he was super ripped, Like,
yeah.
So.
I feel like this is the direction a lot of, maybe not action stars, but action types were like you would see a lot more smaller, wiry guys kicking ass, I guess, and like Keanu in The Matrix, right? Like, he's not Schwarzenegger and stuff. So like I kind of feel like even with Statham, he's sort of not as bulky as, even in this movie, he's not as bulky as your average guy around that time. So I think that might have been a trend or something, a lean, mean fighting machine kind of thing. Even though he doesn't do very much fighting in the movie, I can also see like historically bad guys are sort of more, I don't know, depicted as like these, could be these like lean, emaciated, kind of like ghouly, wiry kind of tall man sort of creeps or something too. So.
Well, there was that meme going around Twitter recently where it's just like, in the 90s, bad guys like looked like Jason Alexander. Like they looked like George from Seinfeld. Yeah, just like that's just what he looked like. And now like every villain is like 220 pounds of pure muscle with an 8-pack. It's like, yeah, things look different now. But like, there was more variety to like what a villain could look like. But I do think that like being a kind of like, I think it goes back to the European thing, maybe. Like, I don't know if he was written like that or whatever, but like it's just kind of like a, not what you think of a villain in an action movie would necessarily look like.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Vince tries to kill Statham. He gives him a bomb.
Which was weird. I mean, I get it. I wasn't expecting that, and then he blows the car up. Like, plot-wise, this movie feels very loosey-goosey to me, and I don't know if it was me, like, because the action sequences, but like Mike was saying, like, it definitely feels like they have the set pieces out, and they're like, how can we get from one to the other, right? Like, we need to blow up this car at some point. Cool. This is how we'll do it. This is the story behind it. So yeah, blowing up the car definitely surprised me though.
Yeah, Mike, do you know why? Like, why does he try to kill Statham? Other than because like Statham delivers the package. Is it just because he like? Is there more to it?
I think he said he opened the package,
opened it,
and they could tell that they gave her a drink, I guess, because he cut the tape and all that kind of stuff. But I'm shocked that he didn't open that box and see there was a bomb inside, you know, like on the road. Like, he already is very kind of like his sense, you know, like he's very sort of like on edge about this job anyway. And it's like, I wouldn't think he would think it was all over that easily.
Also, like, he didn't take the other job. Like, when the first robbers are like, okay, we got a job for you right now, keep driving. And he's like, nope, that wasn't the deal. So, like, all of a sudden, he's like, I need you to, like, deliver this box or whatever. And
yeah,
you're
maybe
like,
maybe he thinks, like, okay, I delivered the body, that we don't know it's a woman yet. Or I guess he does, but, like, whatever. He delivers lie. And it's like, okay, that's the completion of this job. So this is a new job, maybe. So maybe there's, like, some kind of, like, internal logic like that. I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah, but it gets him back to the mansion, and like what I love about him going back there is that he's not even back there to rescue her. He's just back there to kick everyone's ass for trying to blow him up. And she stows away in the back seat.
The shot of him running up and doing the flying kick through the peephole is amazing. Like, that's a really cool, like, memorable thing.
Yeah, I love that. That felt almost like right out of like Leon or something that you would see in early, like, Point of No Return or whatever, that La Femme Nikita or something.
Yeah, he shows back up, and he's just like, again, like Mike said, just like kicking ass. He does a thing which reminded me of the beginning of Hobbs and Shaw, where he like throws a gun in the air and catches it behind his back. Which like, that kind of feels like the champagne bottle at the beginning of Hobbs and Shaw. We're just like, no, I'm not dropping. Like, this is my weapon. I'm gonna guard my weapon. I might do some like aerobatics with it or acrobatics with it or whatever, but like, this is I'm gonna be careful with it. So
Statham is also, he did in the movie Parker. I don't know if you guys have seen Parker yet, but
is that with J-Lo also?
Yeah, he does, still to my memory, one of the most amazing gun tricks in that movie. Something with the clip where like he drops the clip and stabs someone with it or something. I can't exactly remember what it is, but I remember in the theater like having my mind just blown by seeing this gun move I'd never seen before. And I thought I was going to see more of it in this, but I appreciate the up in the air, grab it behind the back, slow-mo spin splash page. It's really cool.
Because Parker also predates John Wick, and I feel like John Wick does like a lot of things like that. You're like, oh, why has no one ever used a gun to pin a guy against the wall while you reload the gun, right? Or like, why don't they use the magazine to like beat dudes up? And like John Wick's just like, we can do all. Wait, not only can we do it all, we're gonna do it all. But like, yeah, Parker was up before that. I remember. I feel like it was maybe in Cage Club, Mike, where you were like, I love Parker. You brought up Parker more than once, I think, about how much you liked Parker. I think.
Gotta rewatch that soon.
I think it's very fun and quaint that Statham gets milk delivered.
Yeah, is that like the French thing where he has like the baguette and the milk and like everything is organic, maybe?
Because he brings Lai back and he cuts her free and she's like, can I go? He's like, please. And she just explores. He wakes up and she's still there, right? She's like, I made breakfast. Like, where's the milk? He's like, oh, it's outside the door. And he goes and like, the milkman dropped off milk, and then the detective's there too. But like, I'm like, that's fun that like just this mercenary, this like criminal gets milk delivered.
Yeah. Again, I think that's the European thing, right?
Probably.
It feels weird that this was set in Europe because at some points they were driving and it really felt like Miami to me. And I was like, oh, was he like driving in Miami? And then it was like, oh no, he has like a European plate on the front of his car. I remember that part. And they don't really, were they're in France, right?
I believe so. He says Nice at one point.
But it was just like very confusing. Like it was just general Europe is where they were. And we have another experience like we did fucking, what movie were we just watching, Joey, where like half the people had accents and half of them didn't?
Oh boy, it probably could be any number of movies we just watched. What was that?
Yeah, that's true. I think it might have been the Statham one.
It might have been Homefront.
Yeah,
right?
Homefront.
Yes.
Where like Statham has an English accent, Franco's trying to do a Cajun accent, and then like all the rest of the people just speak normal English. It was just like all over the place, and this kind of felt the same way too, right? Because like nobody's doing like a French accent. Like there's nothing. It's just like random dudes together.
It's just set in southern France, but it's just like it's a general action movie, not generic, but like just a general action movie, just set in France. Yeah,
exactly.
I would almost have rathered if it was just an entirely French action movie that they remade as an American movie called The Transporter, and there was like a original version out there that was in French with some French star I've never heard of, and the inspector was the same actor, and like
yeah, that would
like it almost has that feel too. But like I'm still thrown by like the whole, like it almost feels like a foreign film that hedged its bets by casting not an American but an English speaking actor to get sold to an American distributor, right? And then if not, okay, it'll play in Europe and it might disappear as a movie no one's heard of until like Jason Statham gets really big, and then we could remarket it somehow.
Right, but it does feel like Statham from The One, and also Luc Besson having his success in America with like Leon. It's just like, yeah, we're gonna take a chance. Like this is like a mid-budget movie. We're gonna see if it works. And like apparently it works well enough, but still, like it's mind-boggling to me. And I'm very curious to see like the box office for like the second one, because this again, like this is not a huge hit, but again enough to get a sequel, right? And then we just go from there. So
and it's reliable Besson. Like this is his sort of. Like, this is Leon and La Femme Nikita, and, like, he's into those sort of, like, assassins, right? He's really into that in their home lives. And, I almost felt like a little Bangkok Dangerous watching this movie, Joey, right?
Ooh.
Like, that kind of, the idea of the killer, not really a bad guy, maybe. And, like, I would like what Joey said, like, what Joe, too, was saying, how maybe his favorite parts at one point, I think you mentioned like you like the stuff between like some of the action. Like I kind of wish that stuff was more of the movie, because I want to know more about the character, because I don't really get a lot aside from he knows how to kick ass from the action sequences. So maybe it just needs more character exploration and I'll be okay.
I also do want to shout out Bangkok Dangerous again for a movie where Cage plays a guy named Joe. So
nice, thank you.
So after the detective shows up, Vince shows up with his guys. They blow up Statham's house.
Completely destroy it. I mean, like, everything. I've never seen this much demolition in, like, I'm just coming to shoot up your house. Like,
which is kind of it's kind of funny. It comes back later when, like, the detective's like, so what happened? He's just like, I don't know, man. Like, think they were at the wrong house. Like, nobody who does that level of damage goes to the wrong house. He's like,
exactly.
I don't know what to say. Don't know.
And also, they drop down and then just go straight into scuba, too, which was, like, an interesting... I was like...
It becomes like a James Bond movie for, like, 90 seconds. Yeah. It's like, there's like an underground lair and, like, a scuba getaway. It's like, okay.
That's what I thought, too. And I was thinking, like, why do we never have scuba in the Fast and the Furious? And then I was thinking... I guess we get Dom falling down into, like, the water thing in 9, right? So, like, it's kind of close. But, like, we need a good scuba moment in Fast and the Furious.
There's also in behind the scenes things that in this scene where like the house is on fire, an ember from the explosion set apparently what remains of Statham's hair on fire. So doesn't have a lot of hair, but it caught on fire. So that's what ultimately led to the downfall of Michael Jackson, right? Like his on the Pepsi commercial or whatever. So like it can be serious.
He only had another good 35 years or so after that.
I know, but still it led to the drug
addiction. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember that as a child. Very shocking. I love in this sequence how we sort of get like missile cam or something. Like we follow the rocket going from the dude's launcher like into the house. That's fun. We get that awesome shockwave towards the end, which just signifies like, yeah, it's completely done and leveled. This is one of the better sequences. I mean, there's not as much fighting, I guess, but the destruction is cool.
Then this is where she seduces him after they escape. And then, Mike, I thought of you. Lai hacks the planet. She does some very 2001 computer hacking to find Vince. And then I don't know if they leave it intentionally for the detective or not. It seems like they might have, but like what I liked about the detective is that he presses, a common keyboard key, wake up. I've never seen a wake up key on a keyboard, but it just says wake up. So he presses it, computer boots up. But, just like in Hackers, she hacks the planet. She does like some very like late 90s, early 2000s, like I'm doing computer things. It's just like, yeah, okay, cool. We got what we needed.
It's funny to watch those now and be like, there's no way that he didn't have a login at the beginning of this thing, because like I have like 2-factor for every fucking thing I have to do at work now. Correct. And you're like, yeah, like.
Well, that's the thing. Like in Pam and Tommy, they're like, have you heard of this thing called the internet? And like they talk about that. They're like, what is that? And then Pam's like, okay, so it's only in this one place. And the woman's like, no, but you need to know about links. And she's like, what are links? So it's like it's the same kind. Like it's several years after, but it's still in a time where people are just like, I don't know, computers, like, do we need them?
Yeah, exactly.
I like that she's a snoop. Like that's a good character trait. Like that gets me more invested in her as a person. Is that like first we saw her kind of peeping around his place, and now she has no problem. Like she's got like that nerve, you know, where she just look through your dresser drawer while you're in the bathroom or something. And I like that. It comes through.
It creeps me out, man.
No, I'm saying it's good that she's got something. You know what I mean? Like,
oh no, I get it, but I mean at the same time, like I can't join you in the admiration of it, because like for me, I'm like, please don't just dig through all my shit.
It is nerve-wracking, and like she seems to have good intentions, but also I don't know, like her dad, like not to say that like, you know, Sin's the father, but her dad is like co-leading with Vince like this smuggling, this trafficking operation, and she's like just around crime, and she's just like nosing around your stuff. So like even if she has pure intentions, like she's still like around. She's from a family of criminals.
Yeah. So you mentioned like we find out her dad's involved in the human trafficking thing. Like I'm still not clear like why she was in the bag. Like clearly she found out about it, but who found out that she knew? And if it was Vince, which I'm assuming it was Vince, did he tell her dad? And which, by the way, I don't know if you saw Vince's character name in this movie is Wall Street.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Amazing.
Awesome.
Amazing.
Okay. That's his like bad guy name?
That's his only name. That's the only name that he's credited as. So he's just Wall Street.
Yeah, but very fuzzy math kind of going on here plot-wise at times, which I can't quite track.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I have no idea who sent her to Vince to be tortured or killed, I guess, right? Like,
yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
And I feel like the scene where we almost get, like, we would get answers when they go and it's like they're in Vince's, like they go to take out Vince, right? And then the dad shows up, and then the detective shows up, and the detective takes Statham away. Like they kind of have to like hide their true intentions. Like if the detective did not show up, I think we would have gotten a better understanding of the math of how this all came out. But like because they have to lie about what's going on, they're like, oh yeah, my daughter's here. Like I love my daughter or whatever. It's like, well.
So like it's weird because it feels like they're so smart they found a way not to explain it by having that scene the way it is, you know. It's like, oh, the scene got interrupted. Sorry, we can't get around to it or whatever. Like we were going to tell you.
But there is something nice about like the fact that it's 90 minutes and they don't explain that. Like I'd almost rather have this than like an extra 15 minutes where like I know a little bit more about what's going on.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like there's something about the simplicity, even if it doesn't make sense. You're just like, okay, like he's a bad guy. She's maybe a bad guy. Vince is definitely a bad guy.
Yeah.
Maybe Statham's a good guy. I don't know. Like it's just like it's like, oh, okay, sure. Yeah.
You're getting to a good part, that the point where the detective is like, you know, a guy like you could solve this crime in like 24 hours, and he's like, okay, and then like he like joins the family, comes over to the dark side, is like working for the Rock immediately, and you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense in this grand scheme of things. Like,
yeah. Although like, I don't want to correct you, but I do want to correct you. He's like 24 hours, and Statham's like, nah, man, less. He's like, all right, prove it.
Yeah, and he just like, okay, just, you know, kidnap me out of here, and he does it, and that's how we get onto like the second act of the movie or whatever.
Yeah, I thought when he was letting him out of prison, he was gonna be like, okay, yeah, get escape, but not like take me as a human prison, like a human shield. It's just like, what? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's the way he has to get out, though, right?
But it's weird that we get another person in a trunk. Right, like he stuffs him in the trunk because later there's the scene where they're far enough away, and he's like, "Hey, sorry about that," or whatever, and he pulls the inspector out of the trunk. I'm like, they do the trunk gag again? I don't know.
Oh, another thing so like that's they also did a human shield earlier when Vince, like when they're blowing up his house, they're also shooting at him. And like he dives into the water or whatever, and he uses like one of them as the body shield. But then something I've never seen before: the dead body who's there, he does mouth to mouth, like take the air out of his lungs.
I've never seen this either.
I was like, that's cool. That's very cool.
Is that? Can we myth bust that? Is that possible? Because that's amazing. That's super cool.
You can, but they would be less oxygenated.
Okay, so it's like a one-time. You can't keep. It's not like a balloon. You can't like breathe in and out of it.
Well, I mean, there's air there, and I'm sure that his lungs still absorbed the oxygen from it, so you get like shittier air.
All right, but enough for him.
Yeah, like you can't use him as an ongoing source of air, but like you can take the air that's in there out of there for like a one-time hit.
That's so cool, and I bet so many other movies are jealous that this isn't in their movie.
It's a great move, and like he has to like do you get just one extra breath.
Like, it's stuff like that where I'm like, that's so cool. Like, I wish that was in, like, a better movie. Or not even, it's fine being in the Transporter, but I just wish the Transporter was a better movie.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. You know, I keep coming back to the thing about, like, impact. And, like, it just sort of flops here and there a lot where, I mean, for me, a major issue with that is the music. Like, this is some weird, like, French trip hop happening. And you need, like, rock or techno or something that drives harder than whatever this is, because it just doesn't make it feel like dramatic enough. Like, I don't know how else to put it. Like I said earlier, sometimes it just seems silly almost.
The only music I remember from this movie, and I think because it's that in a different way, is that, like, I saw Vince's name in the opening credits. So I'm like, I know he's going to be here somewhere. And then, like, there's a scene that starts with, like, shitty rap rock from, like, 2002. And I'm like, okay, this is where Vince shows up. Like, I understand, like, what the movie's doing. And, like, yeah, like, he's just, like, blasting shitty rap rock at his mansion. It's like, yeah, that's Vince's intro music. And, like, that's the only thing I remember, because I'm like, this is, like, generic and shitty in a way that, like, I know why they put it in here. But, like, yeah, I agree, I think. Even though I don't remember, I agree. Then we get to the fight at the docks at the end, right? Or, like, toward the end. He jumps from the side of a truck onto a bus driving below, which I felt was like very Fast 9, where Dom is chasing Jacob through Scotland. Where are they?
Oh,
Edinburgh, maybe?
Edinburgh.
I don't remember. I think so. Like, the Wolverine thing, right, where he strips out of his shirt. Like, the guy, like, tries to grab him, and he does, like, kind of like the hockey jersey thing where he just, like, strips out. He's just like, no, like, you can have it. But then uses that to, like, bound two guys together. Like, it's super cool.
Yeah, the whole dock thing cool is always like a fun set piece. I love the idea of it being very maze-like and also being able to kind of like scale between them and also having like lack of room. It's always the Falcon and Winter Soldier sequence sort of popped in my head when I was watching this too. I was like, you kind of never get a bad dock fight.
I like it, and you get some water too. So like, you know, you obviously have to dive in the water at some point and then come out of the water at some point and there's boats possibly. Like, I like all of it. I agree.
So here's another Mythbusters thing. He's going around to all the containers with a stethoscope, and he's like trying to hear for humans inside. Like, wouldn't you just run up and like knock on everything? And if there was a person, they would just knock back. Like, they'd be waiting to hear.
But then he would make noise, and the guys that were there, like, watching over it would catch him.
I suppose. It's also cool how he's just, like, randomly looking at, like, I don't think they have the numbers, or I can't remember if he got the number of the shipping container yet, but...
I like the stethoscope thing, too. I think it's pretty cool. It was just, like, a fun thing because it gave you the out where he, like, runs into that pharmacy and just, like, steals it, right? So...
There's another thing here where it's just sort of like the unfortunate benefit of like when we're watching this, but there's a scene where he takes on 10 dudes in a bus, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, we just saw like a great version of that in Shang-Chi. And then we also saw like a good version of that in Nobody, like the Bob Odenkirk movie. I'm just like, there's been better versions of this. Like, it's cool and like he's great, but it's just like I don't really get it. But then we go right into that oil slick fight where he like spills the oil and he puts the bike pedals on his feet, and like everybody's slipping and sliding, but he's not. I'm like, this is the coolest thing in the movie, I think.
Yeah.
Also thinking about 40 weight, 50 weight with Johnny Tran, but just like,
of course,
this is so cool. Where like people are trying to fight and they're like all slipping and sliding everywhere. I'm like, this is like, there's other cool things that we've mentioned, but like this is one of the best parts of this movie, I think.
And why was there bicycles there? It just like it just makes so much sense.
I think because it's France and just like there's bikes all over Europe.
Yeah.
Fair. I mean,
yeah, it's a transit depot, so I guess mailmen on bikes, possibly. This was like full on Jackie Chan to me, you know, like it felt like an homage or something to something he never got to do, or maybe he did do oil work. I'm not sure. I've not seen all of his stuff, but like I really loved it too, and it's certainly the most creative thing in the movie. I feel like the whole movie leads up to it, and I feel like we could have done without that inside the bus fight and just skipped to this, because this action sequence goes on, man. It goes on a long time. So just having the oil stuff would be plenty. And I think it uses another human shield in this. Oh, this is the time you were talking about, where he uses the human shield, and it conveniently
yes.
He conveniently lands in the water, cleaning him of all the oil for the next sequence. So that was
perfect.
Yeah.
Then he borrows the plane from the farmer, like we talked about, skydives from it. And then, Mike, you said like he hijacks a big rig truck like in Fast and Furious, but it goes more smoothly here. But then Vince comes in. What I thought was cool is that like the rear view mirror or like the side mirror shatters, but like it's still there. So he's like using part of that to like as a mirror, but then also uses that as a weapon when Vince comes and he stabs Vince in the hand. I'm like, that's a cool like double use for the thing. I thought it was a nice touch.
What was that car, the piece of shit he was driving when he spots the crop duster? You know, like he kind of
when he steals, because he steals the detective's car, right?
Is it it's like a white Honda or something? Is that what it is?
I don't know. I'm guessing it's a French car. It looked very French to me, but I wasn't paying attention to what it actually was.
I wasn't sure if that was kind of an in-joke to say like maybe this is the crappiest car in France or something like. But also the idea that in the beginning he drives amazing car and here he drives pathetic car. But I also think that this truck fight is awesome. It's just I'm kind of exhausted. We just had oil fight, and now we got moving truck fight, which also they did in Falcon and Winter Soldier. I think it's actually better here. But I like the Indiana Jones under the truck. I always love that. I like the parachute gag. It is kind of amazing how they're crop dusting, and then like all of a sudden they're like 20,000 feet, it seems, so like high enough so that he could skydive or whatever. I don't know how high you got to be, 10,000. 5, whatever, but like,
well, he like jumps out and then like immediately pulls the thing, right? So it's like he doesn't really like enjoy the ride or like have to descend that much. He like jumps out and like almost immediately just like pulls the cord. So,
but did he even need a parachute? Like he should have just had the guy flown over the truck and just jumped onto the truck. I mean,
yeah,
you know,
it would be cool.
I don't know. It's still cool. You know, I'm not trying to complain.
He uses a tire iron, like one of the cross tire irons, as like a throwing star to knock out Mr. Kwai's driver. Mr. Kwai lies dad, which is pretty cool. He also does like a running. He like runs along the roof of the big rig that Vince is driving, and does like a jump, twist, flying kick to like double kick him in the chest. It's just like, oh shit, like that was cool.
That was really, really cool. I like that move a lot. He uses it kind of like a monkey bars type situation and just like swings back in. Because he'd already blown out all the fucking windows of everything, so it was a perfect entrance.
Almost reminded me of like Machete with the guts, where he goes from one floor to the next.
Yeah. yes. But then, at the end here, he's like at a cliffside, held at gunpoint by Mr. Kwai, right? Like with Lai's dad, and he's like, you know, basically like, your daughter is so great, like she deserves better, she could blah blah blah, and like they're having this like, and it feels like. Like, one thing I hate in movies is when the villain doesn't just kill the hero. It's just like, you just kill him, right? But, like, it felt like here there was a reason for it. Because they were talking about the daughter, and, like, there was actual, like, hey, your daughter, like, I got to know your daughter, and, like, here's some cool stuff about her, or whatever. Like, it felt like there was a reason that he wasn't just shooting Steven.
Yeah.
But Steven, like, grabs a rock and does, like, almost like the Die Hard thing where, like, McClane has, like, the machine gun taped to his back, right? We're just like, I'm going to do this whole thing. But he's got this rock behind his head. It seems like there are 2 or 3 opportunities for him to like get the drop on Mr. Kwai and like hit him with the rock, and he just doesn't do it. So like, I don't know what his plan is with the rock to like knock this guy out, but he just waits for Lai to get over there and shoot him and kill her dad. They free all the smuggled bodies and like they leave, and like that's the end of the movie. But like, what's the plan with the rock? Because it feels like there are moments where he could like surprise him, and he just never does.
I just saw a great rock scene where like a guy used a rock to throw something out of something, and I don't remember what it was. Was it Friday Night Lights? Maybe,
I don't know.
Somebody plays baseball in a movie, and the kid tosses his dad a rock. What was that? In Belfast? It was in Belfast. That's what it was in.
Okay.
The kid tosses the dad a rock, and then he uses the rock to hit the gun out of the dude's hand. That's what it was. Yep, sorry.
I just want to shout out very quickly to Out of Sight Before, but Mike, do you remember like the funniest item toss in that movie?
Oh, the gun through the window.
Ving Rhames is talking to George Clooney, Joe, and like George Clooney just like has like a newspaper in his hand, and like Ving Rhames is basically like, "Hey, let's go," and he tosses Clooney a gun, and Clooney just doesn't move, and the gun just flies out the window.
I love when that happens.
It's like, what, why? Like, what? I wasn't ready. And they just like look out the window or whatever. So yeah, it's very funny.
I wonder if this is just foreshadowing Jason Statham working with The Rock one day. That's all that rock signifies.
Maybe.
No, but I honestly think, Joey, there's multiple endings here somewhere that maybe he did kill him, because the stuff going on off screen with Lai is very confusing. We hear her scream, we hear a gunshot, and then all of a sudden she shoots her dad. So I'm not quite sure what was happening, but it felt a little choppy. It felt like undecisive and like, well, let's just go with this one maybe.
I don't know. Any other thoughts about the end of this movie or anything else about the transporter?
There's a point where Vince is what Wall Street says, send in Leon, and I was like, well, here we fucking go. Like, I think the one character, like the other side character's name was Leon, and he refers to him as Leon. That just made me really, really excited.
Mike, any other thoughts?
No, not really. Not so much. Actually, I'm just glad the inspector survived. I believe he comes back, so looking forward to a little more of him. Yeah, it was just fun revisiting this one. It was good to see Jason Statham kind of doing his solo thing, which was cool.
Yeah.
All on his own, could hold the movie, held it down, did it well, star on the rise. Pretty cool.
Let us watch the trailer. So on YouTube, this is posted by our friends Movie Clips Classic Trailers, the Transporter 2002, trailer number 1, Movie Clips Classic Trailers, posted on March 10th of last year, weirdly. 93,000 views. Let me know when you guys are ready.
I'm ready whenever you are, bud.
Okay, I'm good to go.
Cool. All right. 3, 2, 1, play.
I was wondering if you wouldn't mind.
Oh, there's also apparently something in this where he like deflects a rocket with like a lunch tray or something that was in the trailer that people were all excited about, and then it wasn't in the movie and people got a little bit mad. I don't think it was like an Ana de Armas not in Yesterday where they're suing, but like just something to keep in mind. Keep an eye out for this thing.
75,000. Half now. Half on delivery.
It was weird how it just started with him in his car in the garage.
Yeah.
Like he's some kind of robot.
What kind of date am I in?
Deep trouble.
And he probably should have just ripped the tape off. They never would have saw the little dash.
Yeah.
Oh, giving a lot away.
You broke the rules. You opened the package.
Oh, yeah, they're giving... Okay.
Whoa.
All the explosions. All the explosions.
Oh, door guy.
And the skydiving. He throwing the girl, even.
And the sex scene.
I mean, you don't really know.
Vince, and the axe scene. Yeah, like this, and the bus scene.
You don't know when.
Oh, there
it is.
That was amazing.
Yeah, how'd they cut that from the movie?
Don't know.
The transporter.
They showed you literally every cool action thing that we talked about, right?
Hey, man, I guess, and even that thing, like, they have your money, right? It's just like,
yeah.
Okay.
Even the guy who looked like Johnny Rotten. That's funny.
So the Letterboxd game, so for reference sake, big news, Mike, since you were last on, Mad Max Fury Road, one of the most popular films on Letterboxd, has now been seen by more than 1 million people. 1,016,000 people. The Transporter, 2002, directed by Louis Leterrier and Corey Yoon, starring Jason Statham, Shu Qi, Francois Berland, and Matt Schulze, has been seen by how many people?
It's going to be a ton.
I got to go first, right?
You can go whatever you want.
Oh.
Yeah, you can tell me to go first. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I always need like some kind of reference.
Yeah, let Joe go first. Let Joe go first, and then you can bounce off that.
I'm gonna go 135.
135,000. Mike, what about you?
Okay, I'm gonna
That's logged it on Letterboxd too. It's not like, you know.
Yeah, I'm gonna go much lower. I think I'm gonna go closer to like 90.
Okay, it's somewhere in between those two numbers. So you have like
two guesses,
a sort
then.
of a tight range. Yeah, 90 and 135 between those two. Joe, what's your second guess?
112.
Ooh.
Mike, between 90 and 135. Joe takes 112.
That's crazy. I was too off from saying that. I think I could go 120.
You're now both too high. So between 90 and 112, one more guess.
All right.
Well, was
between
it
90 and 112?
90 and 112. 105.
95.
Once again, in the middle, 102, 102,000
Wow.
people, which for a movie from 2002, which is not
It's
necessarily
a ton.
like
Yeah.
a super popular movie, a lot of people. Average rating of 3, most common a 3, then a 3.5. I gave it a 3, Mike gave it a 3, Garrett gave it a 3, our friend Liam gave it a 3, everybody gives it a 3. Also, Will Sutton gave it a 4.5 because, of course, he did. How many people have this in their top 4 favorite movies of all time?
A lot of people saw it.
I think it's gonna be a pretty high number. I think I'm gonna. This is gonna sound low, but I think it's high. 35.
What the
That
fuck?
sounds very high. I was gonna.
That's spot on. What the fuck?
What?
Really?
35. 35
My first
is the answer.
is that my first hole in one?
I think it's your first hole in one.
Whoa.
I mean, like that's not like one. Like those don't count. Like those gimmies. But 35, it's 35.
Damn.
Yeah. What
Cool.
the fuck? What the fuck?
No, man. I was on. There you go.
That's crazy. Mike,
Yeah.
sorry to cut you off, but
No.
like we gotta, you know,
Yeah,
like
please.
the lights go on at the carnival, just like
Of course.
Okay, yeah.
Add a sound.
Ding, ding, ding.
Add a sound effect.
That was pretty surprising, man. I
Amazing.
mean, like I've gotten close. I've gotten within like 2 before, but like hitting it dead on.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we've been saying that like 1% is a lot, which would be like 1,000, right? So like,
Yeah.
it's nowhere near that. Like people have seen this, but people don't love this, right?
Yeah.
I was gonna say 5. Like I was so lowballing it.
Well, I don't think that would be. I mean,
I think there's a ton of Statham fans. My thing was there's a ton of Statham fans. This kind of feels schlocky enough to like where people would like it.
Yeah.
And because there's 4 of them, those are just like the factors that I was thinking.
Also, it's a global thing, right? Like Letterboxd is a global community. This is got a lot of that.
Yeah.
Other out of the country flair. Yeah.
So we're gonna none of the profiles. There's not a lot to choose from, of course, but none of the people who gave it 5 stars and liked it and wrote a review or whatever has a top 4 that we could do. So there's 2 different options. Do you want to go with the person who gave it 4 stars and no review, or 3 stars and liked it and wrote no review? So pick one or the other. Do you want to do one or do you want to do the second one?
You pick, Mike.
Again, this is somebody in their top 4 favorite movies of all time. One gave it 4 stars out of 5, and one gave it 3 stars out of 5, but still in their top 4.
Let's see the 4-star guy.
Okay.
Or girl. I don't know.
I don't know. There's no picture. Frac22, FRAC22, at Frac22. The Transporter is their 4th favorite movie of all time. This year they watched Don't Look Up. They give it 2.5 stars, calling it mediocre at best. So, okay. The Transporter is Frac's number 4 favorite movie of all time. The top 3 are all movies that I think you would both have seen. Mike, there's one that you've covered on your show.
Ooh.
Joe, there's one that we've covered on our show.
Drive.
No, we have not done Drive on this show. But
Baby Driver.
It is one of our
Baby
shows.
Driver.
No. And these are all, here's another thing I will say. They're all from before 2000. 2 from the 90s, 1 from the 70s.
Okay.
Let's see.
The one that we've done, Joe,
Yes.
there is at least 1 sequel to.
Okay.
The one that you have done, Mike, is obviously because it's the 3rd time, right? So it's a 3rd in the series, but there's at least 5 of them. And the other one has a spiritual sequel that is not really a sequel and totally different in almost every way.
God, I feel like you just gave me that clue 3 times in a row. Is it the same movie from the past 3 times?
No.
Spiritual.
Okay,
But I've given similar reviews like that, yes.
Is one of them Cloverfield?
No.
Ooh, good guess. That's fun.
That's spiritual sequel. Is it like a Blade Runner Soldier type thing where that's supposed to take place in the same universe?
No, it's like a totally the sequel, and sequel is like it's not a sequel, but it's kind of a sequel. Totally different genre. The lead actor, like the character, played by a totally different actor. It's a movie that the original, the one that we're trying to guess, is a classic that I know is probably one of Joe's favorite movies of all time.
Oh, Donnie Darko.
Gone in 60 seconds.
Never heard of the Donnie Darko spiritual sequel that stars his sister character that plays his young. I don't know.
No, what is that?
Something Darko. I don't know. There's
S Darko. S Darko. No. This is like if you didn't know the ties to this movie, you'd be like, there's no way that this is like the same franchise or whatever.
Huh. I'm so intrigued.
This is a crime film. The sequel's a comedy.
One is a crime film and one is a comedy.
Oh, Goodfellas.
Yeah, My Blue Heaven.
Got it.
Oh, I don't know that Goodfellas had like a spiritual sequel to it.
It doesn't really, but it kind of does, right, Mike?
Okay.
Like, that's not inaccurate to say.
No, that's
okay.
Yeah, that's accurate. Yeah.
But I do love Goodfellas. That's good. Yeah.
And who is is it Steve Martin in My Blue Heaven?
Yeah, Steve Martin.
It's just like it's basically what happened if he like was in witness protection.
Yeah.
Okay.
The guy who was writing Goodfellas was interviewing Henry Hill. His wife was also a writer. Ended up writing My Blue Heaven, and they came out the same year. So it's just...
Okay, so that's the one that none of us have covered, because I don't know where Goodfellas would probably fit in a crime theme. We don't have a crime lab coming up yet, but, one day we can do it on the show. But
let's see.
The one we did on this show, Joe, is from the 70s, and there's at least one sequel. And the one from the 90s, Mike, is the third in a franchise that there are at least 5 of.
Is it Alien?
No, but that does fit. You have all the clues that did fit the profile.
Yeah, I was thinking Alien 3.
This is Mike. I'm gonna air some dirty laundry here. This is a movie that you were gonna have me on for, and then you just did the episode without me.
Die Hard 3. I'm sorry.
Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Okay.
That was, yeah. I owe you one. Still owe you one.
Number 1 is a movie from the 70s, Joe, that we have covered on this show.
Long Kiss Goodnight.
That's from the 90s.
Okay.
There's also no sequel to that.
Okay.
We did it in the classic car movies lab, because I don't know what other lab we would have done a movie from the 70s.
Okay.
But there is at least one. Let's see.
The Italian Job.
There are two sequels to this movie. It's not The Italian Job.
Okay.
The second one is just called Title Number 2, but then the third one is the title Part 3. And the star of the first 2 is not in the third one, but his antagonist is in all 3 of them.
Smokey and the Bandit?
Smokey and the Bandit.
Nice.
Thank you. Finally.
So Smokey and the Bandit, Goodfellas, Die Hard with a Vengeance, The Transporter. Kind of an all over the place top 4, but pretty solid.
It kind of relates somehow.
It's car, crime, car, and crime.
Yeah.
Actually, they're all crime. Smokey and the Bandit's also crime.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Thank you, Frack.
Well, Smokey and the Bandit's kind of got a transporter vibe. They're transporting that beer, right? Like, isn't that the thing?
They are.
Yeah.
All right. We are going to continue this series on the Patreon feed for this show. Not The Transporter 2. Just Transporter 2.
Whoa, they dropped the?
They dropped the. They pulled a Facebook. Transporter 2, Transporter 3. But Mike will be back for a Patreon bonus exclusive episode, Transporter 2, coming out next week. And we're going to follow that up, of course, with The Fate of the Furious, because that's what happens. And then we will continue this on Mike's show on March 3rd, on Third Time's a Charm, to talk about Transporter 3. But if you want more Transporter, you know where to find us, the Patreon and the Mike show. But Mike, thank you for joining us. What would you like to plug?
Well, thank you guys so much for having me. Always. First off, there's going to be some new Cage movies this year, Joey. It's going to be interesting to see. So always check out the original Cage Club with Joey and myself and all the other shows that we do. Cinemakers, Tom Club. There's lots of them. And then I also do Third Time's a Charm, which you mentioned. But I do a show with Dan Colon called The Monsters That Made Us. It's the final Friday of every month. Dan and I are going over the history of the Universal Monster movies. One a month, last Friday of every month. Monsters That Made Us, cageclub.me.
Cool. Do you have any final thoughts on Transporter or anything like that?
I'm excited for the second one now. Especially if Mike says it's a better one and they made a second one. It feels like maybe this is one of these situations where, like, they had some ideas that they couldn't put in the first one, but, like, get out in the second one. So I'm curious to see where this goes. Yeah.
I will do one more push for our Patreon pledge. Brian was on recently, and he said...
Hey. I thought we were going to play the Twitter game, and I have one for that.
Oh, no, we're not doing the Twitter game today. We don't do the Twitter game on pit stops.
I think that we maybe should just amend it and just do this one, Joey.
Do year one. I'm not going to do a whole thing, but do year one. So send it to me.
I'm sending. It's sent.
Look at Joe doing homework that he wasn't supposed to do.
It's from Read a Book at Knowing Santo. And he says, someone please buy me Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift on DVD, please.
From June 14th, 3 years ago.
Hey, if you're still looking for someone to buy it, if you subscribe to our Patreon, we will send you an autographed copy of Tokyo Drift on DVD. Also, he's still active. It's like, this tweet is from 3 years ago, but like, he still exists, so...
I'm saying, hey, if you're still looking for someone to buy this for you, join our Patreon, $5 a month or above, and we'll send you a signed, ! Copy of Tokyo Drift on DVD.
Yes, I'm glad that you say it like that, because they're going to be like, signed, but of course I want that, and then not realize we've been saying on the podcast all along it'll be autographed by you.
Boy, do we have a podcast for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, the pledge, Mike, if you have not listened to the newest episode with Brian, is that if anybody joins, and this also applies to you, because you're not a patron of Too Fast. If you join the Patreon at the $5 a month tier or above, Brian will send me, and I will send you a used DVD copy of any Fast and Furious movie of your choosing. I will sign it as myself and mail it to you. So all you have to do is join at the $5 a month level or above. You'll also get stickers and a handwritten note in the mail. So I'm not just saying this to you, Mike, but I'm also saying it to you. But to anybody who wants it, toofast2forever.com.
Till the end of the month.
$5 a month, to the end of the month, to the end of February. So as this comes out, you have like 6 more days to sign up. You give us your mailing address for the stickers. I'll send you the stickers and a signed copy of any Fast and Furious movie you want, signed by me. Used.
DVD.
Where's he getting all these copies?
We're going to buy it online, eBay, something.
Yeah.
Right.
He was like originally using my money kind of. I'm like, hold on, like I'll do this, but like you need to. He's like, all right, I'll foot the bill. So Brian's been a big supporter of ours in terms of the Patreon for a while now. So
itself,
yeah. So read a book on Twitter if you want this. I mean, you're not going to listen to this episode, but if you or anybody want this, I have to write in here Transporter Joe 2. So Joe, you'll get points for that too. But like if I also think if they join the Patreon, that's also 10. That's 10 points.
Yeah, that's pretty high, I think, at least. So
it'd be very funny if he's still 3 years later. They're still 3 years later, waiting for Tokyo Drift on DVD.
And hey, man, should have gone to Rasputin. Sorry.
Crazier things have happened, but for all things Too Fast Too Forever, you go to cageclub.me, facebook.com/TooFastTooForever, or at TooFastTooForever on Twitter and Instagram. Email us, family@cageclub.me. Check out our Patreon page with that ever so special Patreon pledge at TooFastTooForever.com, and our store, TooFastTooForever.shop. We'll have 2 new designs coming sooner or later. Mike, would you buy a shirt that said Tej's Garage on the back and had a Brian name tag on the front? The answer is yes. That's a great. That's a great sign.
I think so. I think I would.
Oh, Joe, I forgot to tell you, we had another email that we got our monthly earnings report from TeePublic.
Nice.
75 cents earned in January.
Woo-hoo.
So we are
Perfect.
really burning up the charts. That was from the one sticker that we sold, I think. So
perfect. Beautiful.
Very exciting. So if people out there think we're getting rich off this stuff, they're right. TooFastTooForever.com, TooFastTooForever.shop for the store. Come back next week for the Fate of the Furious. In between on the Patreon for the Transporter 2. And then Mike's show, Third Time's a Charm, on March 3rd for Transporter 3. I'm Joey Lewandowski.
I'm Joe 2.
And I'm Mike Manzi.
And we'll tell you all about it
when we see you